9123. That's 800-631-9123.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies today, a high of around 75. Cloudy, a few showers overnight, and breezy, a low of 62. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
62, partly cloudy on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, September 26th. It's 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So let's talk about President Biden, shall we? You remember him. He's your current sitting president.
Is he still a thing?
He's still around. He's still your current president.
Isn't it wild that he will pop up every so often, whether it's asleep on a beach, or now he's on The View, or he's at some campaign event with Zelensky that they're using taxpayer money for and guising it as some sort of public policy thing, and you're like, oh yeah, he's still the president.
Right.
Think back to like when you were a kid, when Kennedy was president.
I was not around when Kennedy was president.
Oh, think back to when you were a kid, when Reagan was president. I'm sorry, Casey.
That tracks.
I get those two confused all the time. Or in my case, whether it was Clinton or Bush or, whoever. Can you imagine if the president was so irrelevant and disappeared so often that, like, imagine George H.W. Bush popping up at an event and you would go, oh, yeah, he's still the president.
Oh, right.
Like, that would have never happened. The media is so in the tank for the Democrat Party that they are presenting this to you as though it is some sort of societal norm for a president to disappear for days at a time and just, you have no idea who's running the country.
Did you hear what Donald Trump said about Joe Biden? You'll never catch me sleeping on a beach in my bathing suit.
It blows my mind that, I mean, I remember as a kid, like, I don't know, like when it first started dawning on me, probably because of listening to Rush Limbaugh, like in my teens, about how the media was for the Democrats. I remember like hearing that, and then you would start being observant about it and you would see it, but they would at least try to like hide their cheerleading from the Democrats in the tank. There would be ways of manipulation, but it was very subtle. Now you have a president who simply just disappears.
Yeah.
Who just goes to who knows where, who's doing who knows what, then randomly pops up at various events, and the media, not a word about how weird this is.
If you ever go to a press room for a sporting event, you're not allowed to cheer in the press room, even if it's your favorite team is winning, and they tell you, shh, you're not supposed to act like you're rooting for a team. You're supposed to be impartial, right? With this, it's like they're cheering right in front of everybody.
They are professional cheerleaders. So Biden came out of his hole and was on The View yesterday.
He announced during the United Nations General Assembly that he was going to go to Africa next month for the first time. He made that promise to visit the continent while he was in office. He said, I'm going to do this. He made the announcement that he's going to fulfill that promise. But before we get into the View stuff, I want to ask, has he been to Ohio yet? Didn't he promise that he was going to go there after the train derailment?
East Palestine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he ever made it.
So he's going to make Africa his priority before America.
Could right now, if you threw a map out and told Joe Biden, point to Africa, could he do it?
The continent, maybe. The specific countries within, meh.
So, like, Biden goes on The View, and he, of course, I'm sure didn't know or meet. Like, do you think they even prep him at this point? Is he so mentally gone that if you told him something an hour beforehand,
would he even remember?
Would he remember it?
I don't know all the women's names that host that show, but at one point, one of them was like holding his hand. Like, this is the commander-in-chief. This is the president. Be professional. And she's like slobbering all over it.
Well, it is part of a broader conversation, right, about what is going on in your world where you so need some political party to have a victory, who, by the way, is doing nothing for you? Whether you're Democrat or Republican, these people are doing nothing for you. Now, Micah told me that they're listening to us. He's on to some campaign trip, and they're listening to us on their way there. Micah, you have to, when you get in next year, start doing things for the people, okay? All right? You have to start doing things for the people, Micah.
I think he knows that.
Well, but I mean, it's like...
we hope he knows that.
We talked about this the other day. One of the major issues in our society is, I can't remember if it was you or Spanglish, is nobody believes these people care about them at all anymore.
Yeah.
People are desperate for someone, and it's part of Trump's appeal, is that at least he's the one guy who presents, I care about you. Even if he's wacky, even if he's over the top, even if he's wrong or goofy or whatever, at least he appears to give a damn about the American people. And it's like, what is going on with these people, these members of the media, these people on The View, where you so need this Democrat Party who's offered you nothing, who's doing nothing to help you, that you are willing to suspend all reasonable sense of reality and beliefs and whatever to push this feeble-minded old man vegetable and his just complete moronic buffoon assistant now in Kamala Harris across the finish line.
His assistant, his co-president. So let's get to that. He was telling the people on The View that he was confident that he could have beaten President Trump. He called Trump a loser. And did you notice he was wearing a Ukrainian pin? It was like an American flag and a Ukrainian flag on his lapel.
What is the I mean, there's clearly something afoot with Ukraine, right? Because this is totally, again, and the fact that we have a media in this country that is a cheerleader for a party rather than doing their job. Let's walk through this out loud real quick, shall we? Because then we got to play this clip of Biden telling you everything you need to know before you vote this fall. But so you take a country that has no track record of being an ally, a friend, a partner, a stable influence with the United States, right? We can all agree that that is the history of Ukraine. They're an incredibly corrupt country. Not all that long ago, they were Team Saddam Hussein. They have regularly sided with bad actors and terrorists and done horrible, horrific things themselves. There's no logical thing that you would say we must support the Ukraine. And yet not only have we chosen to support them, which sometimes you pick bad versus worse, I get that. But it's this all-in, like if Iraq were to fight Iran right now, would we be wearing an Iraq flag or like, let's say Syria got in some sort of conflict with Iran. No, you'd probably pick Syria because they're not as bad as the Iranians, but you're certainly like, hey, everybody's Team Syria these days. And yet, it's like we are now melded as one with this incredibly corrupt, awful, horrific country that doesn't even like us.
So Biden and Harris, they met with Zelensky in Washington, and of course, Biden announced another $8 billion in aid for Ukraine. So who's paying for that? Oh, you are.
So he was on with these just Mensa members from The View, and he said the thing that everybody needs to know before they do. We have the clip of him saying that. I don't even want to like tee it up. I want to see if people catch it. Where he said the thing that everybody needs to, this is all you need to know before you vote this fall.
We have the clip, and here it is.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
There it is.
I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Can we play that again just to make sure that nobody accuses us of manipulating or trying to say things that weren't said? Kevin, maybe we have that clip again.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
I'd like to quote the Beatles, if I might, for just a second.
Sure.
You know, it is rare that I go to the Beatles lexicon. But I'd like to go back to I am the walrus. Casey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I am he, as you are he, as you are me, and we are all together. So he just said right there, all the crap that's going on in this country, all the inflation and the international chaos and the porous southern border, everything.
He was able to delegate.
I am
everything.
He, as you are he, as you are me, and we are all together now.
Okay, so here he is admitting all the failures of the past 4 years are also on Kamala Harris, and we've heard there's no daylight between them. So is he now throwing her under the bus? And the left can no longer argue that the vice president doesn't have any power. I mean, that's what they've been saying. Well, it's the vice president. There's no power. Clearly, Joe Biden, your current president, the commander-in-chief, just told you he delegated responsibility on everything directly to her. So she can't try this cop-out, I didn't have the authority. Nope, you did. They were co-presidents. And yet, Rob.
Yes.
They've got everybody saying it's time to turn the page. Turn the page on what? Yes, your failed administration.
Speaking of which, we got to get to a break, but I just would like to I picked the perfect song to prove my point about how just nonsensical mush the Beatles actually are, and how this country went through like some sort of 10-year head injury / hypnosis. Shall I read more from I Am the Walrus?
Are you going to get to
No, I'm not even going to get to that. I'm just going to get to the actual lyrics. Kev, you're going to need to decipher this for me because you condone and defend these people at all costs, it seems. Sitting in an English garden waiting for the sun.
Yeah.
If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. What in tarnation is that?
That's just some English humor and some English cultural references.
You were going there. It was just, and then you pivoted. It is just nonsensical garbage. That's what it is. What are we doing next?
We're going to talk about how the Commerce Secretary said she wants to extinguish Donald Trump. And then
that's really cool, taking down the rhetoric, Casey.
Yeah, and then Donald Trump's reaction to it. Also, Gretchen Whitmer talking like she's 15. She's 53. You've got to hear that. It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Fingers in the door jam. Oh, damn. When stepping in it. And when the backup on 465 has you stuck.
Oh, Mom, just turn on the radio. Whoa. Sorry, Mom.
You know the backups and ways to avoid them, and you have no problem swearing.
Traffic makes Dad say much worse.
You'll be on time.
No surprise.
Nat Bear Traffic, mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Did you know you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Tony Katz here. We're talking about QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of medical director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. The consultation is totally free, so call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics, Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens. The nursery's filled with great fall selections, so shop now and save 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs at Sundown Gardens. Fall is just a great time to plant, and it'll establish roots for next year's growth. The friendly staff can help you make all the right selections. Visit the Garden Center for all these great things for fall. Mums, pumpkins, fall decor, and more still on full display. 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs and 50% off pottery at Sundown Gardens. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it.
Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
PA Jewelers in Brownsburg is your place for fine jewelry, custom pieces, one-of-a-kind pieces, vintage pieces, and also your place to sell jewelry. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms. You have old jewelry from grandma or jewelry you don't wear anymore? Come sell it for top dollar at PA Jewelers. I've sold jewelry there. My wife has. You're going to love the prices. PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, premierarms.com.
Uline is here for the hard workers, for the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Hey, did you hear what happened at your school last week?
Yeah, I don't even know what to think about it. Like, I don't even know it's true anymore.
We were raised in church. You know it's true.
Yeah, but no one listens to me when I try to speak out about my faith. And when I do, they just treat me like I'm their enemy.
I get it. You know what helped me? The Truth Conference.
What's the Truth Conference?
It's a 2-day conference for teens at Life Church Noblesville. It's October 5th and 6th, and you can check out lifechurchin.com for more information.
I like the sound of that.
Any heating and air conditioning problem you've got, we can take care of you. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You asked for it.
Hey, can I make a point real quick?
Yeah.
You are almost the same age as Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary, and you are infinitely more well-preserved than she is.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah.
She's the same age as Gretchen Whitmer, too.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you're doing, you should be able to give her some advice. You know, I don't notice people's appearances.
I'd look a lot better, too, if I didn't work with you every day. That ages me. I noticed a new gray hair, and I was like, what?
I mean, look at her. Mm-hmm. Now, again, you know, I don't notice people's appearances, but, look at her and look at you, mm-hmm. and you guys are basically the same age. So what is going on with her that she's not doing something you're doing, or you're doing something she's not?
Well, I'm practicing gratitude, and she is spewing hate. I think that may be just a little bit of the difference there.
Here's the thing. You talk about working with me, but the reality of this is I did everything in my power to prevent you from working with me. I tried to save you from yourself.
It's true. You did.
I mean, I did everything to sabotage your hiring here within my power.
I know. The first time I met you and you left the studio, I was like, wow, that guy was not happy to be here.
Yeah,
it was a Saturday, though.
I almost had to come in on a Saturday. Yeah, but I almost had to pull it. But the point is, you're much better preserved than this woman. I mean, she looks like someone's grandmother, which there's nothing wrong with that. But she just doesn't, I mean, the fact that you guys are the same age, good on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Rob.
What is she doing?
She's spewing hate.
Oh, no.
This is in response to something Donald Trump tweeted out on Friday. He said that he was trying to get women voters, and he said that they're worse off financially compared with 4 years ago. All true.
Right.
And he said he'll fix all that and fast, and at long last, the national nightmare will be over. Well, she went on with Morning Joe on MSNBC, and this is what she said about Donald Trump.
What he says is the opposite. It's just another lie. How did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done.
She just said she wants to extinguish Donald Trump.
That would appear to be elevating the rhetoric.
Yeah, you think? Dangerous and reckless. I mean, he's had 2 assassination attempts against him.
Yeah.
They keep saying they're going to dial it down, and yet she goes on MSNBC and says it's time to extinguish him. There's no way you can mistake what she means.
Well, right. And these people, I mean, they're crazy. They're not stupid. She knows what she's doing. She knows what words she's using. She knows when she uses those words. She's fully aware of the history of what's been going on. They don't care. They do not care. And they're fine if he dies. I mean, let's just say it out loud now. So they tried to kill him once. There was an attempt on his life once. The president comes out, all the people, we got to tone the rhetoric down. They go right back to the same stuff. It happens again.
Yep.
And here she's on, cable television?
Yeah.
Saying this stuff again.
This is the Commerce Secretary.
Right.
Yes.
And there used to be a time where people, and it's probably a reflection on our society, where one of the reasons I got out of politics is I didn't want to have to behave anymore. Like I just, it sounds weird to say that I was much better behaved as a elected person than I am now, because I always looked at it as I represent the people who voted for me. And you're always a reflection of those people.
Sure.
And while I didn't take anybody's crap, I wasn't quite as
forthright.
Well, over the top with some of the language and descriptions that I have today, because I don't represent anybody but myself.
I thought we were calling that conviction.
Yeah,
Okay.
but my point is, I still did the same things. I still viewed the world the same way, pushed the same policies, but you're representing other people. I got out of that because I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have to be accountable to other people. There's no sense of accountability from these politicians now, like that they have to be professional. Even if there was a time where parties didn't like each other or hated each other or whatever, they didn't openly essentially call for the assassination of a candidate for public office. And she knows what she's doing. She knows what's happened. The only reason you would use that language is if you want something bad to happen to him. And we have just thrown all sense of decorum or professional norms or whatever out the window now with these political people.
And the attacks on Trump, both verbal and physical, they show how terrified the left is of him. And that should tell you something.
Isn't it weird why they're so afraid of him? Because he didn't really do anything in terms of actually being president where you would say, ooh, that would really, I mean, he grew government, which the left would like. During COVID, he printed all of that money. He did kind of shut down the southern border. He did do some tax cuts. Is that what I've never really totally understood? Now it's trying to rationalize irrational people, but I've never totally understood what the left is actually so afraid of with Trump, because he didn't really do all that many things that you were like, ooh, that would totally run afoul of our perceived way of life.
Well, here he is at a rally, and he's got an answer for the Commerce Secretary.
And that's why we all need to pull together to thwart these attempts and to bring back American strength, power, and prestige. We will soon have it back. No threat will shake me. No enemy will intimidate me. And I have never been more determined than I am today, and I will never back down in my fight to make America great again, which is what we're doing.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Casey, we have to get an update on that greaseball Jamie Null.
Yeah, Sean Bostic is going to join us.
Yeah, nobody knows that story. Of course, Jamie Null, the disgraced former Clark County sheriff, Republican power player, probably best known, at least around these parts, as being Eric Holcomb's best friend and arguably closest political ally. And, well, he's getting ready to head to the pokey for quite a while for crimes against, I guess, humanity, the populace.
Or at least Clark County.
Well, and so his sentencing is coming up. Sean Bostic, who knows this case better than anybody, going to join us and give us an update on what is happening with Jamie Null.
That's next on 93 WIBC.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Bearing down on the coast, radar is clear, 63 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Hurricane Helene is gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico.
It's about to go through the warmest water on its trajectory. So temperatures explosive in the Gulf of Mexico, and there's really nothing in its way, and that's why we think it's going to be a major hurricane. Borderline, maybe Category 4. It doesn't matter. The results are going to be the same. It's going to be the potential for storm surge of up to 18 feet. Hurricane warnings are in place.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. Helene reaching Cat 2 status in the last hour. Federal agents raided the home of New York City Mayor Eric Adams this morning. It's part of an investigation into claims that he may have conspired with the Turkish government to get illegal campaign donations. Adams says he's innocent.
I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth.
The WNBA semifinals are set. The Minnesota Lynx completed the sweep over the Phoenix Mercury, as did the Connecticut Sun over the Indiana Fever. With that, the Lynx and the Sun will be squaring off in one semi. The other semifinal will have the Las Vegas Aces taking on the New York Liberty. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. After some solid economic data coming in, stocks are surging today. The Dow was up 221 to 42,497. The Nasdaq up 334 to 20,526. And the S&P 500 is up 49.5 to 5,828. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus, get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Ready for some high-energy excitement and fun? Head to Jonesboro, Indiana, September 26th through 29th for the Jonesboro River Rally. Amazing stunt bike riders, a cool bike show, fun field events, cool light show, and rocket live bands all weekend long. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't.
Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Splendid isolation. I don't need no one.
Casey, it's been a while. Let's get an update on that greaseball Jamie Null, shall we?
You're talking about the former Indiana sheriff who pled guilty to 27 felony counts, including money laundering, corruption, tax evasion, and also theft.
Yeah, so of course the thing on him was he was not just a county sheriff, which is bad enough in Clark County. He was the Clark County GOP chair. He was part of the Central Committee. He helped run Eric Holcomb's campaign, and he was perhaps Eric Holcomb, the governor's best friend and closest political ally. And as you said, now he has pled guilty to all sorts of heinous acts against humanity, and he has a sentencing coming up.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know. This October the 14th is when this sentencing is going to come up, and we don't know whether the judge will ultimately accept this plea deal based on these victim impact statements. So with that right around the corner, so let's go to the guy who knows this case better than anybody probably. His name is Sean Bostic. He runs the Integrity and Accountability with Sean Bostic Facebook page. He's been covering Jamie Null for decades now. All right, Sean, so October 14th is the day. What is the judge going to be wanting to hear on deciding whether or not to accept this plea deal with Jamie Null?
Well, the judge is going to be listening to 25 individuals speaking live in the courtroom. Each one of the 25 impact statement witnesses are going to be given 5 minutes to speak directly to the judge to talk about how Null directly affected their life in a negative way. We had a meeting with the prosecutor and the state police investigators, kind of going over the parameters of what will be expected that day. It's going to be a closed courtroom. It's on a holiday. It's going to be the only court in session. And they are really hoping that the witnesses motivate the judge to accept this deal, because in reality, it's one of the better deals that would happen for everybody, including the victims and the state, because of how the sentencing would go after a trial.
Okay, Sean, let me stop you right there with that, because the belief is he would serve, people who are good at estimating this, he would end up probably serving about 6.5 years if the judge took the deal. Is that right?
They're saying the prosecutor said 9 the other day.
Wow.
With everything, all the good time and time served, it would be about 9 years.
So it's the belief of the prosecutor. I mean, you've covered this case longer and more than anybody probably. Would a guy like yourself, a community advocate, would you be happy with it? Do you think that's fair?
In reality, yes, because remember, the investigation is still ongoing. It's weird that there's a deal presented and there's still an active investigation by Indiana State Police. It's not even done, and they're willing and dealing on the charges that have already been made. So I think on the back end, additional charges may be added on after this deal is taken on October 14th. But I think it's a good deal because in Indiana, his sentence would be concurrent with each other instead of consecutive sentencing per charge. So in reality, I think it's the best way for the state to get some accountability from him. I don't think if it went to trial, he'd see the total of 9 years served.
What do you think they're still investigating?
It's all financial. I know State Board of Accounts was still looking into the Utica books. There are some questions as to there was a meeting held by the Utica Fire District Board trustees in which apparatuses, fire trucks and such, were donated to the fire department away from the taxpayers. And there's questions whether that meeting ever really happened. There's some communications that's coming out now that meeting might have been forged.
Wow.
And then from that, some of those fire trucks, well, almost all of the fire trucks that were transferred were sold by Null pretty quickly in succession. And there's a matter of $56,000 that is missing.
So, Sean, let me introduce you again to people who may just be tuning in. Sean Bostic is our guest. He's part of the Integrity and Accountability Facebook page with Sean Bostic. He has covered the Jamie Null saga down in southeastern Indiana for decades now. The sentencing for Null coming up October the 14th. Why would Null take this deal if it seems like the deal he's taking, he might have got less time if he'd run it through the ringer? What was his motivation to take this deal?
Knowing Null for the amount of time that I have, I think this is his way of trying to insert a little bit of control for himself, because he was a control freak, very narcissistic. And this, I think, gives him a little bit of control. I think he's tired of county food. He's housed in Scott County, one of the poorest counties in the state. So I think he's ready to get to where he'll have a little bit more movement, and maybe even, we're hoping the feds come in on the backside of this. Maybe he's hoping to expedite his trip to Club Fed. He'd rather be in a federal prison than a state prison for sure.
He has not named any names, has he? I mean, this guy was connected to like almost every politician in the state in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, obviously, guys like Holcomb, he was way closer connected to than others. But I mean, the members of Congress, people running for Congress. I mean, has he had to name any names? I mean, surely he's just not like some lone wolf in all of this, is he?
No, there's no way he can be a lone wolf. The depths of this go too far. To have this, you have to have a group of individuals, or else it would have been outed from day one. But, Holcomb was just in New Albany the other day, which is in southern Indiana, and the running gag down here was, we wonder if he stopped by Scott County Jail. Of course he didn't. But, it was weird because Holcomb being down here, Houchin wasn't here, Zach Payne wasn't there. Normally when the governor comes to town, everybody's there. It was a ghost town.
How is I think Capital Chronicle up here did an article about Null and tried to get Holcomb to answer something. Why does Holcomb keep getting a free pass on this? I mean, this was your best friend, your closest political ally. He helped run your campaign. He was one of the deciding votes to make you the nominee for governor in 2016, and yet nobody wants to pin Holcomb down on this. I mean, Sean, it just blows my mind.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely mind-blowing. He sat on the transition team for Holcomb. It was during one of my interviews with John Miller, who has also been charged. John told me that he was invited to Jamie Knoll's house one day for dinner, and he walks in, there's the vice president of the United States, and there's Holcomb.
That being Mike Pence.
Yeah. So, and this is, they snuck him into Indiana, and that's the power that this guy exuded. And it drives me personally crazy that we're not getting the bigger players.
Yeah.
But he's keeping his mouth shut. That's the thing. He is not talking.
So Jamie Knoll's not talking. Clearly, Eric Holcomb's not talking. You mentioned that impact statements from members of the public are coming. Do we know who the members of the public are, and will they be talking, naming names?
I am one of those names, and I will be. 5 minutes is not a whole lot of time, so I'm running more of an outline and hoping the judge asks me to kind of expound on my outline. But my goal is to date back, because the investigation can only go back to 2018, at the end of 2018, due to statutes. I go back to 2000. And I asked the investigators, I was like, is this something I can mention? They said, this is your time. So I've talked to several others, and they're going to bring up names. I know there's members of the Republican Party that are going to be there talking about how Jamie manipulated them and abused them and used his ultimate powers at the higher levels of the state to blockade things. So I think it's going to be brought up.
It just seems to me like this is going away really quick. He's not naming anyone's name, and everybody sort of other than him is kind of getting out okay. And you wonder what was in it for him not to name any names and take a deal that wasn't all that great of a deal. It just seems very convenient to me, Sean.
Well, if you look at the history of these style of charges and this type of event, he's probably keeping his mouth shut to keep his life.
Yeah.
Let's face it, your vice presidents, governors, multiple millions of dollars absconded with. We've all said all along that there are multiple players to this, but how much money is the state willing to invest into this total investigation, or are they going to treat this as all roads lead to Rome and Null is Rome?
Yeah, so that was going to be my parting question for you today, and we'll have you back on here as we get closer to the day of the victim impact statements. Do you think this will just go away? I mean, is this going to be a thing where they say, oh, he was this terrible actor, and they're going to spin this story, which is totally ridiculous, of who could have known such things were going on? Or do you think that ultimately we're someday maybe going to get the truth about what powerful people knew what and who did what related to Null?
Ultimately, it will all come out, but it's not going to be quick. It's going to take about 3 more election cycles to fix the mess. There are candidates actually running right now, and they're running ads on TV talking about, you tired of the Null corruption? Come to me. And so it's going to eventually come out. But I don't think the state police are going to branch out to the other board of directors players that I have in my files. That it's pretty clear and concise. But the problem is the statute of limitations is really limiting what they can charge.
Do you hope that Judge Medlock accepts the plea deal?
I do. Not for closure, not for anything like that, but it's the first step. You gotta get the first one down. If you're saying that there is collusion going on, you got to take your first brick, and Null would be a good first brick because that's going to put a big crack in the wall to make the rest of that wall easier to take down.
Sean Bostic, the Integrity and Accountability Facebook page. Nobody knows the Jamie Null saga like him. Thank you as always, my friend.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Yep, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
We've been told to shorten our show teases because some hosts are long-winded. So, the Tony Kinnett Cast. It's a good show. Your mom likes it. Starts at 7 p.m. Be there.
It's the start of our favorite season in Indy, football season. That's right. With all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy real quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all those fumble moments in your home. Lucky for you, you can score big this month with great savings. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and you can get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119. Take $75 off air duct cleaning too. The Zero Res service is easy to line up. You can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $119, plus you'll get $75 off air duct cleaning too. 317-388-5141. That's 317-388-5141. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and 1-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Come celebrate the 51st annual New Earth Festival this Saturday and Sunday in historic Atlanta, Indiana. Free admission and over 600 vendors offering handmade arts, crafts, antiques, and collectibles. Free entertainment all weekend with 9 live bands plus Kids Zone with 5 bounce houses. You can skip the drive and arrive in style on the Nickel Plate Express train. Saturday night concert and fireworks sponsored by Duke Energy and Barbecueology. Visit AtlantaIndiana.com for more information. That's AtlantaIndiana.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. Man, October is almost here, and that means cold season right around the corner. And one of the ways you can help stay warmer in your own home this winter is with windows from Universal Windows Direct. And boy, what a deal they've got going on right now. When you call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Universal Windows Direct. For every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. No limit. Plus, 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Now, some restrictions apply on this. So to get all the information, call Universal Windows Direct today at 317-659-7574. And when you say Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call Universal Windows Direct, going to take $250 off your project. You can see all of Universal Windows Direct's work and what they have to offer on the web at uwd.com. uwd.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-791-1313. That's 800-791-1313.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
Psst. Can you hear me? So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So a new Netflix documentary claims to pull back the curtain on former WWE boss Vince McMahon, but does it succeed? Well, did you do the job? Did you watch all 6 episodes?
Okay, so I got through 3 of the 6 yesterday.
Okay.
And I would say this. Netflix is great, and they've done this with countless documentaries where they make you think it's the most earth-shattering thing ever. And then if you're a fan of that thing, you watch it and you go, I didn't really get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I would say about the Vince McMahon documentary is if you are a part of what I will dub like the Booger Eater Brigade, if you're the world's biggest wrestling fan, I don't think you learned anything new of substance about Vince McMahon or about, there's nothing in there through 3 episodes that I've seen that was like, oh my gosh, that is earth shattering. And I can't believe it. A big part of this was because most of this stuff was taped before the super salacious stuff came out about him. So there's not going to be anything, for the most part, I don't think about Janelle Grant or about the selling of or the merging with WWE with UFC. There were, but if you're an average person, so if you're a non-wrestling aficionado, you would actually be really interested in this documentary.
Well, that's what I was thinking because you're very familiar with the content. You've been following this guy since you were young.
And I, you know, we talk about this. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but as a kid, I was very into wrestling, and Vince McMahon is like the Walt Disney of my childhood.
Yeah, it was a big part of it.
Right.
But if you were not familiar with his story, I bet it would probably be shocking to somebody.
Totally. If you are a person who does not follow professional wrestling, I think they've done, based on what I know, a pretty good job so far of telling the story in a fairly balanced manner, which means he comes off looking like crap because he is a complete skis ball of the through 3 episodes. Now, I don't know what the final 3 are going to be like, but what is interesting about the Vince McMahon, so they did go into, and there was some new stuff with him being a part of it, about his childhood, about the horrific childhood that he had where his stepfather just brutally abused him and his mother. He didn't meet his real dad until he was like 12 years old. Turns out his dad is he didn't even know his last name was McMahon until he was 12 years old. And then by just the stroke of luck, his dad is one of the most famous wrestling promoters in the world. And then he sort of makes this quest in life to, I'm going to get even with my childhood by taking professional wrestling to heights that my father could have never dreamed, et cetera. And what's really interesting about the Vince McMahon story, and I think this is the lesson you kind of learn throughout it, is that you can allow fame and fortune and the quest for fame and fortune to absolutely, totally corrupt who you are as a human being. And what I mean by this is Vince McMahon, up until about 1995, was this kind of super shrewd businessman. Sure, he cut some corners. He may have bent some rules. He probably turned a blind eye to some bad stuff. But there's nothing that you would have said, oh, wow, this is so outside the mainstream of what you would expect from a business titan that, oh, my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And then in 1995, Ted Turner gave World Championship Wrestling, who was his primary competition, 2 hours live on Monday night, and they started beating the crap out of Vince McMahon in the WWF. And you kind of start to see that a couple things happened. One, he beat the federal government. They tried to put him in federal prison for steroid distribution, which was a complete crap charge, and he totally should have been found not guilty. And then right after that, Ted Turner goes head-on with Vince McMahon, and something changed in Vince McMahon where he went from shrewd, businessman, cutting corners, dealing with some unsavory characters, to this complete lunatic that now, and these will, I'm sure, be the final 3 episodes, you get into the morphing of Vince McMahon into this just unsavory,
who he is now,
seedy, horrific character. And part of it was he created this Mr. McMahon character to win the wrestling war, and he became the Mr. McMahon character.
Yeah, so the documentary features interviews with him, also family members, wrestlers, business associates, but McMahon pulled out of the filming after that employee accused him of sex trafficking. Now, the lawyer for that employee has released a statement, and she says that the documentary makes it clear that there's no difference between his on-air persona and the true person.
I think, and you see this a lot in wrestling with guys like Hulk Hogan. Does Hulk Hogan even know he's Terry Bollea anymore? That's why it was so shocking at the Republican convention where he admitted, my name is Terry Bollea. Right? I think you see that a lot with wrestlers where it gets so morphed together. And unfortunately for Vince, the character that he created, right? And but yeah, if you're a regular person, you would really enjoy this documentary. It's a really, really well done piece.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Phones aren't wired to the wall anymore. We carry them in our pockets. Cars can even drive themselves, right? Technology advances have changed our lives.
That's football legend Emmitt Smith.
Some of the most fascinating advances are happening with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. I'm talking about natural regenerative treatments for joint pain without surgery or harmful drugs.
Tens of thousands of patients have discovered these breakthroughs firsthand at QC Kinetics. With over 100 board-certified providers across the country, they're transforming the world of pain treatment using your body's own healing properties to help restore your aching joints.
Why would you keep going back to the old tired ways of treating chronic joint pain? Check out the latest advances at QC Kinetics. And here's an idea for you. You can call them on that smartphone right there in your pocket.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. In Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel, 317-559-PAIN.
The clock is ticking. Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is almost over. Until September 30th, you can get 5 years of 0% financing on any purchase. It's the perfect chance for worry-free shopping with no interest and monthly payments customized for you. And now open Sunday, September 29th. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity. From luxury timepieces to engagement rings and more. Don't wait. Spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest on approved credit. Only until September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Here's great news, Indy. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers. Call Rhino Shield at 888-RHINO-41.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the timeline for a lot of rain coming to parts of the state and why. Plus, Harrison Silcox reports on the sentence of a man guilty of killing his cousin. And one area IU's head coach says he expects perfection from this weekend. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Ukraine's President Zelensky to meet President Biden at the White House today. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. He'll leave with another big weapons cache.
President Biden says he's directed the Defense Department to allocate all remaining Ukraine aid before his term ends in January. He is also authorizing more than $5 billion additional dollars already approved by Congress to support U.S. equipment for Ukraine and replenish stockpiles here. He's approving long-range strike capabilities for Ukraine and allowing more training for Ukrainian F-16 pilots. Zelensky is presenting President Biden with a peace plan today intended to end the war on Ukraine's terms.
Fox to Jared Halpern, an ominous response from Russia. The Kremlin says it's revised its rules for the use of nuclear weapons and says any country that helps Ukraine attack Russia will face consequences. Israel has launched more airstrikes today in Lebanon, including a missile strike in Beirut. The U.S. and several allies pushing for a 21-day ceasefire. President Biden saying,
"We're able to generate significant support from Europe as well as the Arab nations. It's important this war not widen."
Israel's foreign minister says there will not be a ceasefire. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams indicted by a federal grand jury probing whether the mayor accepted campaign contributions from Turkey in exchange for decisions benefiting the Turkish embassy in New York.
I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
Mayor says he will not resign. Federal agents descending on his home at Gracie Mansion this morning to seize his cell phone. The government says its final update of the second quarter gross domestic product shows it grew at a solid annual 3% rate, about what the economists had expected. It is the last estimate before November's election. Wall Street opening higher, the Dow trading about 221 points higher. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What to expect? It's partly cloudy and 64 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The remnants of Hurricane Helene will be over southern portions of Indiana by early tomorrow.
And really overspread all of central Indiana during the day on Friday. The heaviest of that rainfall will likely be across the southern half of the area.
Joe Neild with the National Weather Service. He says you can expect strong wind gusts with the leftovers of the storm, not to mention a flooding risk. The trial for a former track and field coach accused of sexual assault is underway in northern Indiana. Nicholas Johnson used to be the head track coach at Huntington University. He's charged with sexual battery. A female athlete came forward with accusations that he assaulted her back in July of 2020. A man from Indianapolis will spend the next 60 years in prison for killing his cousin. Harrison Silcox reports.
Joshua Hobson's body was lying on the ground in front of an apartment complex in the Northeast Side 3 days after Christmas in 2022. His cousin, Emmanuel Newman, was convicted of his murder this August. Detectives say Hobson's girlfriend claimed the two had been in an argument before Newman left, only to return with a rifle. That was all confirmed by security footage. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears announced a 60-year sentence for the murder Wednesday. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
An email extortion scam has been making its way through Indiana, says State Police Sergeant John Perrine.
It shows up as an email, and what's interesting is the scammers have done homework on the victim, on the target.
Perrine says that the scammer will claim to have Pegasus software on their phone and they try to extort money from them, but Pegasus has not been a specific software that's in the private market yet. IU head coach Curt Cignetti says his defense will need to be on point this Saturday against Maryland.
I have total confidence in the defensive staff that, they're going to put a great plan together, and which gives us the best chance of being successful.
If the Hoosiers win, it would be the first time they've started 5-0 since 1967. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This October 10th through 20th, witness a race like no other. In Driven to Save Lives, a documentary that's more than just a story. It's a life-saving movement.
Driven to Save Lives is inspiration.
fueled by the legacy of racing champion Brian Clausen, whose heart symbol on his driver's license became a beacon of hope. This film explores the powerful impact of organ and tissue donation in Indiana's racing community and beyond.
To hear Brian's heart beat again, I'll never forget that moment.
Join us for the world premiere event during the Heartland International Film Festival on October 12th at Newfields, or stream the film online.
What Driven to Save Lives does is gives all of us the opportunity to be Brian Clausen.
Visit driventosavelives.org for more information and tickets. That's driven, the number 2, savelives.org.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, September 26th. It's 5 minutes after 10. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. And let's talk about the latest that your governor said. Eric Holcomb. Well, you know, he's term limited, Rob.
Oh, that's right. Great.
He'll be leaving office in January. He knows people are leaving his administration, and he said that he's not worried about it. He said he's been through this season 3 times. And it's not a big concern to him right now.
Well, nothing in state government other than how many uber wealthy foreign corporations can he attract to our state. That's the only thing that's of concern to him. So I have no doubt that any sense of accountability or productivity for the taxpayers would be even on a long list of things Eric Holcomb is worried about.
So he said that he understands that when folks come to his office, that they'll be leaving. It's a temporary basis, and that's kind of the deal on the onset.
So one of the things that I think everybody who cares at all about government accountability, about transparency, et cetera, is going to be looking forward to is when Mike Braun is sworn in as governor. And look, I get that Braun may not be everybody's cup of tea, and he's got some votes out there that aren't great, but I can promise you Mike Braun will be markedly better than Eric Holcomb. I mean, the past 8 years have been an incredibly dark stain on our state that, if we're being completely honest with our audience, will never be undone. I mean, the amount of irresponsible growth facilitated in large part by Eric Holcomb and the Republican Party's, let's just call it what it is, lust for spending money and growing government will likely never be undone. I mean, just look at one debacle after another with this state. Let's just take Medicaid, for example. $1 billion error, right? $1 billion lack of ability to project what's going on with Medicaid. I mean, that's not a small thing. That's a gargantuan thing that the state is really going to struggle for the foreseeable future to figure out how to fix. Nobody was fired because of that. Nobody was let go. That doesn't happen in the Holcomb administration because he doesn't care. He's playing governor. He lives to go on these foreign junkets. He lives to do these ribbon cuttings. He has zero interest in producing a government that is beneficial for the taxpayers. And this has been his own personal little fantasy island for the past 8 years.
He said that he's proud and happy for folks who are maybe finding greener pastures in their next life. I mean, what does that say about his own administration when he considers leaving, updating your resume, and interviewing for new jobs, greener pastures?
Well, let's translate that for the people, right? Because I speak government, and I'll tell you what he's saying without saying it.
Okay.
Many of these agency heads, people at the top, have sucked as much blood as they possibly can out of the taxpayers. No need for success or accountability. They've taken everything there is to take. The next guy's coming in, who I have zero doubt Braun will be infinitely more accountable or demand infinite more accountability than Holcomb has. And so it's time for my super connected group of friends, after sucking everything they can from the taxpayers, to find their next little soft landing in some job without accountability somewhere.
Okay, so aren't there a lot of consequences, though, for the state to lose experienced public servants?
Well, what are we losing? Well, the taxes have never been higher. The government's never been bigger. They've never spent. What are we losing, Casey? They made $1 billion error. Do you know how hard it is to make $1 billion error? Do you know what a complete buffoon you have to be? Not 1 million, 1 billion. The entire state budget over 2 years is only $44 billion. Do you know how bad you have to be at your job? I mean, look, I say this now, it doesn't matter. My wife worked for the state. When I first met my wife, she left Emmis and was hired to work for the state. She will tell you what a disaster that was, not because she didn't want to work, but because when you tried to work, you were shut down under Eric Holcomb. Like, she would go to work and be the only person at work during COVID. And she would beg them for things to do. And they would give her nothing to do. She would say, let me work. I want to work. I want to do. I have these. She would throw ideas at them and go, here, you should try this. You should try this. We could do this. We could do that. There, child. We'll get to it when we get to it.
I do remember when I first met her, she was just leaving working for the state. And it was almost like an abusive relationship.
She couldn't wait to get out of there. I mean, my wife was, it put great strain on her personally because you would be the only person in work. They didn't make people come to work. They, in fact, shunned people coming to work. And then they would give you nothing to do. That was your state government under Holcomb in COVID. And her personal health and situation improved so dramatically, she went back to the private sector where they give her stuff to do, and she's really good at it. But this is what happens when you didn't earn it. And Eric Holcomb was given the governorship. Eric Holcomb was given the lieutenant governorship. Eric Holcomb was last in a U.S. Senate race. He was getting smoked by Marlin Stutzman and Todd Young. He was totally out of money. And because Sue Ellspermann realized what a complete dirtbag Mike Pence was and didn't want to run with him again, they found a cushy job for her running Ivy Tech so she'd keep her mouth shut. And then they said, we need to replace her with some guy who can fill the void that Mike Pence can't, which is some guy who speaks the elitist, nose up in the air language with the Indianapolis Republicans and the Chamber of Commerce crowd. Holcomb was that guy. By some stroke of luck and a head injury from Donald Trump, he picked Pence to be vice president. And then thanks to Jamie Null casting one of the deciding votes, Eric Holcomb got to be the Republican nominee for governor. Well, we know in this state, if you have a pulse and you're a Republican, unless you get caught in an alleyway somewhere, you're going to win the governorship. Eric Holcomb had no idea what he was doing. He was totally unqualified. This state has had immense damage done to it, which Mike Braun and Micah Beckwith are going to have a complete mess on their hands trying to clean up it is the equivalent of somebody walking into your house, taking the biggest dump imaginable on your kitchen floor and going, somebody better clean that up.
Well, it does seem that Holcomb is checked out before his job is truly done, and it's like he's playing career counselor to a lot of these people rather than ensuring that Indiana's government remains stable.
Well, they know Braun's going to come in. Now, see, like when Holcomb came in, he was left over from Pence, technically.
Right, so it was just a continuation.
And there was a slow burn of people leaving. He didn't like, because the Pence people were every bit as incompetent as the Holcomb people. They just had a different political persuasion and leaning. And so there was a slow burn in getting those people out. Braun's going to come in and be critical if you want of Braun. He knows how to run a company. He knows how to run a business. He'll put more competent people, more accountable people in a lot of these positions. And keep in mind, you cannot underscore what a wild card you're going to have with Micah in as the lieutenant governor's spot, because he don't like any of these people. He don't even know who most of these people are, and they don't run in his orbit. And if he sees bull crap, he's going to call it out. So I think a lot of these Holcomb people realize the gravy train is coming to an end. You're going to either leave by choice or by force, and you know this, Casey. It's always better to look for a job when you have a job.
Right.
And, of course, Holcomb is going to help them find a soft landing for being reliable stooges for all these years for him.
So it's interesting to see. Let's talk about this. Notre Dame students have done something that they haven't done in quite a few years. In 2020, Notre Dame students preferred Biden over Trump. And before that, Hillary beat Trump 59-24 in the same poll. And just recently, the Irish Rover did a survey. And
the who?
The Irish Rover.
Who's that?
Okay, so the Irish Rover is Notre Dame's Catholic newspaper.
Okay.
It's not the student newspaper, which is the Observer. The Irish Rover, it's an independent, nonprofit student publication, and it's mostly devoted to upholding the Catholic mission. But they did do this poll, and they were asking students who they would vote for, and Trump came out on top, 48 to 46%.
Okay, so wait. So let me ask you this, because you're obviously much more familiar with Notre Dame than I am, because you lived up there, covered them, et cetera.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you'd say that's pretty impressive that he's winning amongst college students. However, it would sort of seem like that Notre Dame would maybe have a student body that maybe, because of the cost and the type of university it is, that maybe leans a little more conservative than traditional universities. Am I way off on that?
Well, you would think that, but according to Pew Research, Catholics typically lean Democrat, 44 to 37. Students at Notre Dame are 50-50, male versus female. So I think that this story is being driven by males at Notre Dame, because there was an article that just came out a few weeks ago that said Gen Z is moving more conservative, and that's being driven by young men.
You know,
for the first time in a long time, men are more conservative than women.
It's interesting you said that, because I was listening to Tony driving home yesterday, and he was playing some audio from, I think it was MSNBC, maybe it was NBC News. And they were doing like a focus group with these, I believe they were Gen Z men. And they were asking them about all these core issues for Kamala Harris. And they got to, I mean, there's zero interest in abortion, right? Like, that is such a dead issue for Gen Z men. Like it, but they were, where MSNBC or NBC or whoever it was the host was floored on. They keep asking these men about January 6th, and they're like,
don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at one point the guy's like, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but he's like, I don't know, some people misbehaved and, you know, maybe they got punished for it. I don't know. I haven't really followed it. I don't care. And you can hear it in this interviewer's voice. Oh my gosh, we have staked 4 years on making this as bad as Pearl Harbor or 9/11, and these dudes don't care about it at all?
Nope, that message did not get through to them at all. Now, I can recall, I believe it was when George W. Bush was there for a graduation ceremony.
This is at Notre Dame?
Yeah, some of the students like turned their back on the speech and that sort of thing. So it's definitely a movement that's going on the campus. There's lots of reports of Trump signs all over campus and in dorms and in apartments.
Well, it comes back to what we talked about yesterday. This Democrat obsession with abortion and them thinking that this is some sort of silver bullet where, yeah, there are some women that are going to vote on that, and that's undeniable, but it doesn't do, I mean, it's like old Indiana Beto. Oh, by the way, I think we've settled on Destiny Wells' new nickname is going to be Indiana Beto because that's who she is. Did we have this discussion?
Not on the air, we did not.
Well, should we do it now or should we? Yeah, we got time. It's fine. It's just us cackling hens.
Okay.
I decided on Indiana Beto because she is Indiana's Beto O'Rourke, because if you think about Destiny Wells, how poorly she actually does in elections, how she's lost one overwhelmingly. She's about to lose another overwhelmingly. And yet the media bubble around her is, oh my gosh, she almost won She won Carmel. The hype is just that. The voters resoundingly reject her. They're about to do it again. Just as the voters, when the push came to shove, rejected Beto. He didn't even make it to Iowa in the presidential race, but yet it was, oh, he skateboards and he's so cool and all the kids love Beto. Yeah, well, the voters didn't love Beto. So her name, effective today going forward, is going to be Indiana Beto. So everybody will know when we say Indiana Beto, that's who we're talking about. She was tweeting about abortion again today.
Again this morning.
And it's like, Indiana Beto, what do you not get about this that people do not care?
Well, I think something to take away from this Irish Rover poll that took place at Notre Dame, you know, Kamala Harris has been saying you don't need to abandon your faith to support abortion. clearly that's not ringing true on the Catholic University in Northern Indiana.
Well, didn't Tony Dungy come in and bring the hammer down on her and was like, yeah, lady, sucking the brains out of a defenseless fetus is murdered. That's a pretty big part of my faith.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
It's been a long slog.
Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Kamala was a total disaster.
Now, there are less than 6 weeks to go.
I am running to be president.
I accept your nomination.
The choice is in sight.
If we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing.
And it's not going to get any more polite.
Spewing lies.
A communist known as Kamala Harris.
We'll follow it all to the finish on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ray in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I needed to move in a hurry, so I was out the door into a new home, but left with the big problem of selling my old home with 2 mortgage payments fast approaching. I heard Mark Dietl was the answer, and I heard right. I was ecstatic when Mark sold my home for the price I needed in 2 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. It's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
To learn more, eligible members call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Shop Macy's VIP sale, going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
So Coca-Cola is doing something, and it's making a lot of people upset. You can do a personalized can of Coke. You can get a couple of them, actually. $7.95 for these personalized cans.
One can?
Is it one
No
can?
way.
No, it's got to be more than one can. But you go on their website, and you can enter in little sayings. You can pick the background, and then they ship the can to you.
So, like, I could do Casey loves Kirk.
You could. Now, it is limited to fonts. You can't go too long. I did do one yesterday that said Kendall and Casey, and that worked. And I did something, a bad word about Democrats with an exclamation point, and that worked. But some things that you can't say are Jesus or Trump 2024 on the personalized cans, because you get this message that pops up that says trademarked, political in nature, names of countries, celebrities, religious figures, that you can't use those. They're considered offensive.
What if your name is Jesus?
Right? You can't get that personalized can from Coca-Cola. And now some people are calling for a ban on Coca-Cola.
So wait. You're telling me you cannot get the name Jesus?
Correct.
On a can of Coke?
And I tried it.
And you did, so
I
you
did
know
try
that.
it. Yeah, and a little message pops up, and you can't use it. You can't use Trump 2024, but you can use Harris Walz 2024.
Oh, well, that's convenient, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, that's now look. These are interesting stories because not that anybody having a personalized can of Coke is going to sway the populace. Oh my gosh, that says Harris Walz. I'm all in. Nobody's thinking that, but it shows you how liberal these corporations actually are. Where when you give your money to them, where they're taking that money and putting it, and it gives you sort of a basis by which to decide whether you want to engage in commerce with these people because they're telling you who they are.
Okay, so they're being called out, and it's just another double standard being pushed by big corporations, right? If the people on the left can have their phrase, why can't conservatives on the right have their phrase?
Right. I'd like to know how much these actually are. Not that I would ever do this, but I mean, couldn't I just do it myself? Couldn't I just take a can of Coke? Like if I had a printing
And
something?
what, with a Sharpie?
Well, I mean, if I have a printing thing or something, I mean, it's not like they're reinventing the wheel over here. You could kind of do this yourself, couldn't you?
I guess you could put a sticker on it.
Right. I mean,
sure,
whatever.
make it say whatever you want it to say. But you get to pick your background, and American flag is one of the backgrounds. that you can
how
choose.
exciting.
But then guess what? There's also rainbows. You
Okay,
can put on
so
there as well.
so are you're there? There's limited amounts of space, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to get like Casey loves RFK wouldn't, like that wouldn't probably fit. That's too many letters.
Probably, yeah,
Right.
yeah. You can get some though. Did you see that Weird Al Yankovic is coming to town? I
Okay.
know you're a huge fan of his.
Well, Hammer and I are of the belief that it is a crime that Weird Al Yankovic is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That if you look at some of the goobers that are in now, the fact that Weird Al Yankovic is not in the Hall of Fame is, I mean, somebody should be investigated and probably charged with something, because think about the amount of hits that Weird Al Yankovic has had, and over the amount of years that Weird Al Yankovic has produced. Now, he's probably past like being kind of a mainstream phenomenon like he was in the 80s and 90s. But I mean, you got another one, Rides the Bus. Eat It, Fat, Smells Like Nirvana. I mean, the song he did about eBay. I mean,
Amish Paradise.
Amish. Thank you.
That's right.
Yes, that's one of the big ones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just a song after song after song that people would know and be able to sing along with. And I saw Weird Al. In 2004, I think it was, at the Mirage. And boy, I'll tell you what, not a well-assembled woman in sight. I'll tell you what.
So it's the Bigger and Weirder tour, and you saw him at the Mirage. Well, this time he's going to be at the White River State Park.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Is that a downgrade or an upgrade?
Okay, so let's
more
talk.
people, less people.
Well, let's talk about this. What's that? It's the one right down the road from us, right? That place is the worst concert venue. It is like they just shoehorned. I read an article about this the other day. Somebody posted about this. I don't know if it was Indie Star or what. And I was like, they're right. It's like they shoehorned this concert venue as though we don't already have enough of those. And every time I go see a concert there, it's bizarre the way it's structured. Like there's like a pit where people can stand. Then there's a line of seats where like you can sit and order food. And there's like a mini lawn behind it. It's very...
How are the acoustics?
Back me up on this.
Yeah, we're talking about the TCU amphitheater,
Yes, thank
right?
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
No,
basically
it's the Everwise Amphitheater.
Is that what it's
now.
called now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the sponsor
They
right,
got a new
Kevin.
brand.
They paid a lot of money for that.
It's basically like a smaller version of Ruoff.
Right, but I feel like Ruoff is so large that the construction
Right.
makes sense of, hey, you do have that little row of seats or whatever, but like who was it that I went to see with my buddy Scott there a couple months ago? Yes.
Was it Korn?
No, it was not Korn. It was one of the one of the metal bands.
Slayer?
No. Anyway, I'll think of it here in a minute. But and I went and was like, this is a very odd venue by which to watch a concert, and it just seems like I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes you get stuck on the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
Because there is that hill in the back,
Yeah.
and then you just can't see anything.
I saw my buddy Troy Kennett, who plays he's Mellencamp's keyboard player,
Right.
and then in the Mellencamp offseason, he played for a yacht rock band called the Naughty Yachties, and we saw them out there a couple of years ago. I just feel like it's an oddly constructed venue and is visually not appealing to my trained eye.
Well, he's going to be playing his greatest hits as well as some fan favorites that have never been performed live.
I like to hear this because that's one of the problems with Weird Al is he gets a little squirrely on trying to play all his new stuff. And like when I saw him at the Marah, he did a medley with all the hits and then we were done. I was like, really?
That's it?
I don't know any of these other songs.
Well, you can go see him 4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend?
July 3rd, 2025, 8 p.m. And I'm still trying to rack my brain over who you saw with your friend. Because I know you told me who it was.
Yeah, I remember
now I
that.
can't remember.
We'll get it during the break. It's terrible. I wasn't really paying attention.
Was it Pantera?
No, it was not Pantera, Kevin.
That's my last guess.
Kevin's just like listing bands. We've got your voicemails coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy. John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How strong is she? It's 66 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Hurricane Helene is over warm water in the Gulf and gaining strength as it moves towards Florida. Fox's Eben Brown.
Helene is now Category 2 with sustained winds peaking at 90 miles an hour and still will grow stronger as it heads towards the Florida Big Bend. Volunteers like Jamie Van Pelt have been delivering sandbags in places like Tallahassee where inland flooding is expected.
A lot of times folks can't physically get out here to fill up sandbags, which is tough work.
But for coastal communities, they're being urged to finish evacuating as a storm surge as high as 20 feet is now predicted, and that is characterized as unsurvivable. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Federal agents raided New York City Mayor Eric Adams' home this morning with prosecutors expected to unseal charges against Adams today. The charges against Adams are not known yet, but the feds have been investigating Adams for possible illegal 2021 campaign contributions. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hello, friends. It's Rob for Life Church. You know, it's Thursday. Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out my friends and family at Life Church. They're warm. They're welcoming. They've had a great impact on my life, on my family's life over the years. And this Sunday, they'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Yeah, over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. And they make it easy for you to find out why. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Our multidisciplinary care team will guide you every step along the way.
It was very overwhelming at first, but I found this whole community of people who are understanding and just very supportive. So I have a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness for who I am through this and after this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccines subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
We have the best technicians in the business here at Family. They'll take care of you every time. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Lousy well water? You just can't find anybody better than the pros at C&J. Great systems and great people, too. Call C&J at 317-852-WELL.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
It was Judas Priest.
Judas Priest was it. Obviously, it wasn't that great of a show because you completely forgot who you saw in concert. It was like 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's horrible, right? So my last segment, I was trying to remember, we were talking about White River.
Yeah,
whatever it's
Weird
called
Al
now.
is coming to concert
right
next summer.
Said I think it's a pretty crappy venue to see a concert at. Just the formation of the concert venue itself, I don't think is very visually appealing. I feel like the fans are disjointed from each other. Like there's too big of a gap between the people on the floor and then the people on the lawn. And I was trying to remember who I saw there just like 2 or 3 months ago or whatever that was, and it was Judas Priest, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, for as good as my eyesight is, my memory, I mean...
I thought you had a file cabinet.
Well, I do,
up there.
and I think the problem is, you know how, like,
that
you
file
just...
get lost?
Well, it just keeps... Yes, it was erased. I mean, you just keep stuffing things in there. I'm going to have to clean a bunch of things out.
Right.
You know.
You know what happened is that particular file got pushed into the very back, and then it fell down in the cabinet.
Well, my buddy Scott, who does news at the big... one of the big talk stations in Ohio, he's the morning news guy. He wanted to go, and we see each other usually like once a year. And so, what are they going to do? Tell him no? I mean, I'm not like a huge Judas Priest fan, but he wanted to go. And
you went for the company, not for the concert.
It's his favorite group, and so I certainly wasn't. You know me, I'm a people pleaser, Casey.
Right, you'll do whatever the people want.
He wanted to go. All right, so hey, we got a letter in the mail.
Yeah,
like an actual. Someone wrote us a letter, and Casey's holding it up on the YouTube chat in case you want to watch it, see it there. I first of all wanted you to read the note they wrote on the letter itself. Our audience is the best.
Yeah,
just the best.
So this is yesterday we got off the air and it was just sitting at my desk, and it is addressed to Rob Kendall, but we know how this goes. Rob doesn't open the mail. He makes me do that. And so I open it up, and as I'm sliding the letter out, there's a note, and it says, Casey, I have a personalized photo of Cat Timph on my fireplace mantle. Hint, hint. Thank you for opening Rob's mail. And then he said, your dude is very good on the show, as are you. Thanks, Rich. So Rich clearly listens because he knew you don't open your mail.
That's the thing. If you think you're going to get me, you're going to have to do better than through the U.S. mail, because I do not open the mail, and all you're going to do is be getting Casey or Kevin, because I don't ever open the mail.
I'm curious on how he got the personalized photo of Cat Timph from Fox News, from the Gutfeld show.
Well, maybe he wrote her a letter like he did us.
He could. I don't have any headshots that I could autograph and send to you, but maybe we'll take care of that one of these days. Okay.
So this was actually he sent us. So many of you know, every year on this program, we have a little fun with nominating me for the Brownsburg High School Hall of Fame.
Yep.
just to make the people who I don't think are big fans of mine at the Brownsburg Education Foundation send out as many rejection letters as we possibly can. Now, this year I'm a little more optimistic, Casey. We have a new superintendent. It's a real chance to...
Think they're open to it?
Well, turn the page, let bygones be bygones, heal the community.
Olive branch.
You know, if that superintendent, who I know that new superintendent, and superintendent has great sway over the Education Foundation, that'd be a great way for her to mold everybody together. I got the resounding endorsement we heard from that truck driver who said the former principal there at Brownsburg gave me a glowing recommendation. Brett DeGay, the former principal. So all the stars are really lining up to heal the community and put me in the Hall of Fame.
This could be it.
And so this guy sent us his application.
He did. So he printed off the Brownsburg Alumni Hall of Fame application that he had filled out, and that's what he mailed to us. So, of course, the top is just the nominee, Rob Kendall, and the address, blah, 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 blah. So we go on to some of the other questions. Skill sets or area of interests. Okay, listens to WIBC from 9 until noon.
Yeah.
And he does it through Apple, he said, because here's the interesting thing. Rich, who sent us this letter, is living in Wichita, Kansas.
Wow.
So thank you for listening to us on the internet, Rich.
Think about the impressive... Like, who else is getting first of all, who's getting all these nominations for that Hall of Fame? You know, these people they're letting in are getting like one nomination. Who's getting all these nominations? And we're getting them from
across the country.
Across the continental United States.
Right. Okay, so why is this nominee worthy of the Hall of Fame award?
Yeah.
How has this nominee been a good role model to the graduates of Brownsburg High School and others?
That's a great question. Absolutely.
That's the question. So Rich answered, named, quote, a great dream by former President of the United States of America. And then he goes on to say, got me to contact my local state rep.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
You're a very good influence.
Love that.
The question, since graduation, please list any special professional achievements of the nominee.
So many to choose from.
The answer, Rich said, he published a book in 2013, Path Less Traveled, which has the dedication to the people of Brownsburg. Thank you for giving me such a wonderful place to call home. No matter how far I went, this is where I wanted to be.
Wow, he is a mega fan.
Yeah.
Oh, Rich
he
is
said
a mega
he
fan.
ordered your book
Yeah.
in July of 22.
Yeah, and look at how much better his life is.
Well, then he said, I'll get around to reading it one of these days. Okay, and then the question on the application, what unique contributions has the nominee made in service to his or her community? The answer from Rich, charity fundraising for Salvation Army.
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
And then additional comments. And Rich said, father of Olivia Thatcher Kendall.
That's right.
Rob helps me be more engaged, community-minded person every day.
That is wonderful, Rich. Thank you for being a fan. Thank you for listening halfway across the country. We appreciate you. And look, I think it's pretty, I kind of feel like I'm like the Kurt Schilling of the Brownsburg High School Hall of Fame. So people don't know Kurt Schilling was a great baseball player. He was a phenomenal pitcher, won multiple Cy Youngs, World Series. He's a very outspoken conservative, and every year the Hall of Fame screwed him out of getting in when far less worthy players were getting in. And so his final year, he just said, screw you guys. I don't even want to be in. Don't even vote on me. Just vote against me. Let's get it done with. And I kind of feel like that's where you are. I'm the Brownsburg High School Hall of Fame. Nobody's more deserving to be in, but I think we all know it's going to take some really special people to put their political grievances aside to do the right thing for the town.
Well, with more people like Rich submitting the application, filling out
Good
the
job,
form,
Rich.
I think you're well on your way.
Thank you.
Did you pin the application to the top of your Twitter page?
I didn't. We just got so many. I just didn't. You know, look, I'm not one who seeks attention. So I didn't really want to, like put myself first. Everything I do is about the people.
Right. It's all about giving back. Okay. Well, you can search that out. Brownsburg Alumni Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then
just Google it.
We're not doing everything for you. You got to work.
You got to work to do something for me.
Work a little here too. All right. Do we have time for one phone call?
Sure. It is a voicemail segment.
All right. That was the snail mail version. Now let's get to a voicemail. 317-684-8444. We did get to we did get a lot of great phone calls today that maybe we'll have time to get to all of them tomorrow. But let's just go with this one. We had the conversation yesterday about the congressional hearing about Americans' health, and somebody wanted to call and talk about obesity.
I had to share, I was listening to the Jillian Michaels segment on obesity in the U.S., rising and rising. I'm a physical therapist. I have worked with patients post-stroke, post-heart attack, all that stuff that's associated with obesity. And it really irritates me, the fact that our government, when COVID hit, they used that opportunity to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars advertising for a vaccine that did almost nothing and posed more risks for those of us who are healthy, young, active adults. They pushed that vaccine on us and spent a bunch of our money to push that vaccine on us when they failed to capitalize on that opportunity to educate the general public on how obesity is bad, on how you can reduce your risk of stroke and heart attack and lots of things that can lead to poor health outcomes and death long term. So I just have to point that out, something that I haven't heard much talk of. And also wanted to say that, Rob, I appreciate your insight. Thank you for educating me and all of us, the general public, on how local government works.
Yeah.
Most days I think you're a little bit unhinged, but I do appreciate your insight. Thank you for keeping it entertaining. Casey, I think you are probably almost nearing sainthood for working with Rob. But thank you both for what you do, and thank you for putting out a good product.
You know, look, and you know, we just got done talking about the Brownsburg Hall of Fame, and that how that would be totally the right thing for them to do for all that I've done for Brownsburg. And nobody has to do anything. I'm just saying, like, when you hear phone calls like that, and I'm never going to get one under Holcomb, but I think one of the first things Braun should probably do as governor is present me with the see, it's so obvious even you knew what it was going to
where you were going. Don't hold your breath. Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. I got yelled at by our boss for making these promos too long, so tune in. It's going to be awesome. Time's running out.
There's no substitute for experience, and that's especially true when we're talking about teenagers learning to drive. You teach them the basics, but what about those things drivers don't encounter every day? Hey, I'm Matt Bear, here to tell you about Rule the Road, Indiana. It's a hands-on experience at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just for teenage drivers that provides practical knowledge and skills that go beyond regular driver education programs. So, for instance, a controlled braking course and evasive maneuvering course where young drivers learn how to maintain control while avoiding collisions. It is taught by police officers and professional driving instructors. Saturday, September 28th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's free. All you need to do is sign up at ruletheroadindiana.com. Lunch is provided, and American medal-winning swimmer Ryan Murphy and IndyCar driver Stingray Robb and defending two-time Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden will be on hand signing autographs. Rule the Road, Indiana, brought to you free by Alliance Highway Safety, September 28th at IMS. Register now at ruletheroadindiana.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game. but to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
About plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go.
Would you like fries with that?
Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, there he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show. It is Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. And been rolling, been doing a lot of stuff this morning. Got up early, did an Outkick hit. And then every Thursday, I jump on our sister station for a little bit, 107.5 The Fan. KB and Andy do the morning show.
Yeah.
They invited me to come on and talk about the Degenerates Next Door podcast.
Very nice of them.
Very nice of them. And a new episode drops at 1 o'clock today, the NFL edition. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just like IBC, they have a live stream and a YouTube feed, right?
No.
So anytime like an IBC guy goes over to the Fan, like it plays with their universe. Can I read you some of the comments from the YouTube chat?
Because some of the sports listeners sometimes tend to be a little more liberal than talk radio.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is a comment from Sir Lord Duckworth.
Sure.
Why is a name-calling political hack and shock jock host of a divisive show on Sports Talk? One company, I guess.
Tell us on the doll where WIBC hurt you.
And I love shock jock.
Shock jock.
That's like such a 1985 term. Like coming up this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel show, 5 porn stars are going to come in. Like, oh, it's so ridiculous. Here's another one. Curtis Manlow. Hammer seems like the type of fellow who still buys adult magazines.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's just so wild when universes collide, right?
And it's not like you're on there doing a bunch of Donald Trump talking points. You're talking about sports and sports betting.
We're giving picks for the Thursday night game tonight.
It's just...
your existence just bothers them.
I know, right? It's so fun.
The world's colliding. Hey, there's a hurricane. That's right up your alley.
Yeah, it is. I mean... First and foremost, you hope everybody's all right because the National Weather Service said about 18 to 20-foot storm surge. That's killing type of storm surge. People lose their life and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hope everybody's smart. But you guys know me. I've done a lot in this
You so
business.
want to be Jim Cantori.
I have done just about everything I want to do as a broadcaster. I've covered Super Bowls. I've been on the road. I've talked to presidents. I want to cover a hurricane.
Now, this is going to hit Tallahassee area, and I know some people down there. If you want to head south, I'm sure they'll, give you a rack to sleep in for the night. If
Let me
it's not
rephrase
underwater.
this. I want to get paid to go cover a hurricane.
Okay.
Like you want an organization behind you to make sure you don't die in the hurricane.
Right. I want a camera guy. I want, a spotter and myself, a 3-person crew.
Yeah.
And I promise you, the coverage I would bring from the beach would be better than anybody else. I mean, I'd be hanging on to a palm tree. We'd have pants fly off. We'd be doing the whole thing.
You've not watched the Vince McMahon documentary yet, which surprises me because you're in the, and I put myself in this, the Booger Eater Brigade that was really into pro wrestling when we were kids. Now you're still into the wrestling.
I still watch it. I don't watch it as much during football season. It's kind of my non-football season vice. But I have not yet watched it because last night I was putting together the Degenerates Next Door podcast. Well, you were having a great time, had your feet propped up at home, not working on this show and not working on our show.
Exactly. Thank you for noticing that,
Right,
Hammer.
you got all the time in the world. Casey and I don't have time to binge watch TV shows, Rob.
I didn't have 3 hours to lounge and watch Vince McMahon.
Speaking of bets, I know we'll get to it on our podcast.
Notice how he changed the subject really quick?
Listen, Casey, I was born in the middle-class family. That was the Rob Kendall version of I was born in a middle-class family.
You got about 30 minutes to get your bet in on the USA on the President's Cup because they're going to boat race the International. So if you want to get in on that, you got 30 minutes to the opening tee shot. So there's a free bet out there for people.
And then about 1 o'clock this afternoon, assuming we can get into a production studio and all the weekend shows have not occupied it.
Can we talk about that for just a second? Can we talk just 1 second about how much time and space weekend shows and shows that don't even run on this radio station take up in our production studios? I love some of them, but it's frustrating sometimes.
You and I, we talk the talk and we walk the walk because we have had weekend shows. And you know what we did? We did them live or we came in after hours. Like shows that have things to do today get bumped for weekend shows or shows that don't have anything to do with what we're doing.
Abdul spends 93 hours in those studios for a 2-hour show.
Right. Like the outdoor guys in there right now.
He's not even on our station.
I don't know.
Okay, so you've got the Degenerates Next Door podcast dropping at 1 o'clock today?
That is it, and the Hammer and Nigel show starts at 3:06 exactly.
And a point of clarification, the one weekend show that can take as much time as she wants because she's a human saint is Terry Stacey.
The First Lady.
Yeah, we love her. All right, thanks, Hammer. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Hey, what's up? Hammer and Nigel here. We are both customers of Window Nation. Window Nation came out to the Hammer House. They measured everything multiple times. They got it right the first time. They were in, they were out, and now my house looks amazing, and my heating and air bill has gone down because of my awesome energy-efficient windows.
Yeah, Hammer, I had the same experience. Hey, you could buy 2 windows, get 2 free with 0 down and no interest for 24 months. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Earn, save,
grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, when you get a lot of rain from the hurricane in the Gulf, plus John Herrick reports on Jennifer McCormick's economic plan for Indiana, and the Fighting Irish land a big recruit for the hardwood. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Probing the first Trump assassination trial, I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. The House Select Task Force on the July 13th shooting of the former president, holding its first public hearing, taking testimony from local police and a retired Secret Service agent. Patrick Sullivan told the hearing it's a manpower issue.
Agents are exhausted now. The campaign really takes a lot out of them. And I think they don't have enough resources. Secret Service does not have enough personnel and resources to give people the break they need.
Yesterday, the Senate Homeland Security Committee issued its interim report on the shooting, citing multiple failures by the Secret Service. Former President Trump says he'll return to the site of the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania for a rally a week from Saturday. Hurricane Helene, now a Category 2 storm and still growing, expected to make landfall early this evening near Florida's Big Bend region.
It's going to be a huge system, 400 to 500 miles wide, so it's going to impact much of the Sunshine State and well inland.
Fox senior meteorologist Janice Dean says at landfall, the storm could be at or near Category 4 strength, with a storm surge as high as 20 feet. Some flooding and wind damage already reported along Florida's Gulf Coast. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams, indicted in a federal corruption probe, defiantly says he'll not resign.
I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth.
The indictment charges the mayor with bribery, wire fraud, soliciting and accepting illegal foreign campaign contributions. In the last reading before the presidential election, the government reporting the country's gross domestic product, its output of goods and services, rose in the second quarter this year to an annualized rate of 3%, about what economists had expected. And the Labor Department says new unemployment claims last week reached a 4-month low. America is listening to Fox News.
'93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Soon, you'll get wet. Radar is clear, 69 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Hurricane Helene will hit Florida soon, and after that, the remnants will head north towards Indiana.
Strong wind gusts and the widespread rainfall that really should be relatively beneficial if we can keep it in that 1 to 2 inch range over the course of a day or two.
Joe Neal with the National Weather Service, who says southern portions of the state can expect lots of rainfall and even problems with flooding in low-lying areas. Indiana's Democratic candidate for governor, Jennifer McCormick, says her economic plan is based on common sense. John Herrick explains.
She released that plan Thursday morning. McCormick says a good economy starts in the classroom.
It is an investment for the state of Indiana. We're over half of the state budget, being former state superintendent, well aware of that. But that education spectrum also includes childcare.
Which is why she wants to increase the funding for pre-K, K through 12, and higher education. McCormick also wants to expand the earned income tax credit, empower local governments, and expand the quality of life investments in the state, among other things. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A warrant expected to be issued sometime today for the arrest of an indicted township constable. Indy Politics reporting that Denise Hatch got into an altercation with Center Township trustee LaDonna Freeman this week. The warrant likely having to do with her violating her home detention related to previous charges of theft. If you think some suspects have been let off the hook lately, you are not alone. Indy Fraternal Order of Police President Rick Snyder telling WIBC's Hammer and Nigel.
We've got to pull out the stops, keep our cops, and get serious about reforming the system of so-called justice we're supposed to have in our capital city.
Snyder said that the leniency in the Circle City's legal system is part of why officers are fleeing from the city in droves. Notre Dame's basketball team landing a big in-state recruit. Jalen Harrelson, who plays at La Lumiere in LaPorte, is committing to Notre Dame as head coach Micah Shrewsbury enters his second season as the head coach of the Irish. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, Casey.
You're excited.
I really hope they have the roof open at Lucas Oil Stadium for that Billy Joel Sting concert that just got announced.
I don't know about that. It takes place Saturday, February 8th, 2025. February, roof open. They don't even open the roof on a sunny day, let alone a cold February day.
Okay, so the big announcement just breaking is that February the 8th, Sting and Billy Joel in some sort of duet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to be on stage together or whatever, but they're appearing at the same concert.
Yep.
Will be performing at Lucas Oil Stadium. Tickets to the special people go on September 30th. The public next Friday, October the 4th. I feel like I got to go to this thing.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good show. You're going to know all the songs.
Yeah.
That's just one big sing-along.
Now, as long as I'm going to need some sort of promise that Billy Joel will play Captain Jack, You're My Home, Sting, I'm going to need a definite commitment on Fields of Gold. You know, sometimes these guys get a little, I don't think Billy Joel does this, but I think Sting is the sort of guy who'd be like, I have become disillusioned with my commercial success. Only songs no one's ever heard of.
Isn't that interesting? So, I mean, think about all the songs that you know from Billy Joel. Piano Man, Just the Way You Are. You've got Uptown Girl, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yeah.
My Life, all of that.
And I think, and so I kind of judge seeing the older artists whether they can somewhat resemble
the album.
As I not really remember, but would like to remember them being. So, like one of the reasons I didn't go to any of these Springsteen shows is he looks really old.
I saw a meme the other day, a picture of Bruce Springsteen, and somebody commented they thought it was Megan Rapinoe, the soccer player.
Well, he does the skit in the show where he rips open his shirt. I mean, look, the guy's 75. He's getting up, and he still played for 3 hours. But I told you, it's like when I was a kid, my dad told me, and I remember this vividly, about how sad it was to see Mickey Mantle hobble around the bases in 1968. And you want to remember Mickey Mantle is the blue-eyed, blonde-haired guy who, won the Triple Crown and was the fastest, most talented guy in the game in the 1950s or early 1960s. And that has always stuck with me. So, like, this time with Springsteen, it was like, I don't want to go because the last time I saw him, he played for 3.5 hours in Chicago. He was freaking awesome. He was still really jacked, and he looked like, as we remember, the boss. And so but with Billy Joel, he doodles at a piano.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He could be at 90.
Yeah, look at Elton John. He just plays at his piano.
No, I have no, like when the Sting was with the Police, I don't think he was exactly Mr. Excitement on stage either. So even though Sting, how old is he? What do we want to guess? Let's play a guessing game on how old these two jokers are. Let's go first with Sting.
Okay.
What do you Price is Right rules, you go over, you lose.
I have to do a little math here because Synchronicity was one of the first albums that I ever bought. And he was probably 18, 19 back then. So I'm going to guess he is 67.
67.
I'm going to say 68.
68. I guarantee you are both low, so I'm going to trap you.
Okay.
I would not guess this, but since I know you are both, I'm guessing you're both low. I'm going to say 69, and the answer is 72 years old. I'm the winner. All right, now let's do Billy Joel. Billy Joel. How old is Billy Joel?
Oh, probably very similar. I'm going to say 69.
69.
Yeah.
Kevin.
I'm going to say 68 for him.
I think, again, you are both low, so I'm going to say 70. Billy Joel is 75 years old.
Oh, wow.
I have won the showcase, which should be tickets to this concert.
Yes.
Dion, hello.
I hope that Sting plays all of his good songs, too.
Well,
like
this is
some of the Police songs.
Let's see
Every
here.
little thing she does is magic. Every breath you take. Don't stand so close to me.
Luckily, okay, so there's this little thing called the internet.
So you're going to do all his jazzy stuff.
Well, there's this little thing called the internet where
you
you
look
can
up a
look
set list?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Does it say how much tickets are? You know that's going to be a high
no,
price
I can't see that yet, but let me do one thing at a time, woman.
Okay, so what we're talking about here, if you're just joining us, it has been announced that Billy Joel and Sting are going to be performing at Lucas Oil Stadium Saturday, February 8th, 2025. Tickets go on sale Friday, October 4th at 9 a.m. How much?
Well, no. I've
We don't know how much?
got the Sting set list because this would be my concern with Sting because, and like Bruce has done this before too on the solo tours where he's like, I'd like to sing about my inner pain now. Here's something off Ghost of Tom
play
Joad.
your hits.
Right. But here's the most recent set list that I could find. This was from September 25th, Massey Hall in Toronto, Ontario. Listen to this. This is great. Message in a Bottle, Englishman in New York. Every little thing she does is magic. Fields of Gold.
There you go.
Some other bunch of ones.
Canary in a Coal Mine?
Well, no. Man, ooh, this is, I don't know.
You know 3.
Shape of My Heart, Walking on the, So Lonely. Ooh, I don't know. King of Pain, Every Breath You Take. I don't know. It's like, so it's a 21-song set list, and it looks like 10 of them are songs you would know. Billy Joel probably just does hits.
I wonder if he'll play 21 songs with Billy Joel, or if they have to do like a shortened version.
No, I bet they probably will because that's why they're doing it together. Okay, where's Billy Joel at Busch Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri? That's 27.
Billy Joel, 13 albums. Sting has 14 albums.
Okay, here's
Sting
Billy
won
Joel.
12 Grammys.
Okay, this was September 13th at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Moving Out, Pressure the Entertainer, Vienna, Stay With Me, Start Me Up. Ooh, the Rolling Stones cover. That's interesting. Innocent Man, Barbara Ann, New York State of Mind, Allentown, Only Good Die Young, River of Dreams, Piano Man, Caesar Italian Restaurant, Way to Set the Fire, Uptown Girl, Still Rockin' Rolling Big. Oh, no, Captain Jack. I may be out on this.
I'm sorry. Oh, from one song?
Well, that's my favorite song.
You're going to know a lot of them. So I wonder if they're going to do like Billy Joel goes out first and he does the thing and then Sting comes on later, or are they just going to kind of intermingle? And will they be playing with each other on stage?
He did something with Elton John. So Billy Joel looks like just does the same set list every time. So that's probably what you're going to get.
Well, it's, you know.
Well, you know, it would be too much to mix it up a little bit. You know, I mean, you know.
Well, no, it's all choreographed with the band and everything.
Yeah, but you can
and
call
the lights
Kev,
and the...
Kev, back me up on this. You call audibles, right? When you guys are out there on stage, you'll be like, I'm not feeling whatever. Let's audible in. The crowd's been great. Let's give them something a little different.
Yeah, I mean, we can get away with doing that at our level.
Because it's... Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Not to put down your achievements.
No, I
but
get it.
There is a difference between... what Kevin and his band are doing versus a stadium tour. I mean, all of that is computerized and synchronized with the light show.
Yeah, it has to be planned.
And the soundboard, yeah.
No. That's full of crap. Every Springsteen, that's part of the lure of the Springsteen show. It's like you get 8 different songs depending on which one you go to. It's a little effort, Casey. It's not too much to ask. It's a little frickin' effort. Billy Joel just needs to not be lazy at the piano and call an audible and say, we're going into Captain Jack. Ready? A 1, a 1, a 1, 2, 3, boom.
He can make it work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. We'll have to see how
we got to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how much tickets are. It's got to be expensive, right?
Maybe I could Google that too here. How did you guys do radio before Google? How much are
magazines.
Billy Joel?
Believe it or not, we had magazines.
Sting tickets, Indian. This is some great radio I'm doing here. How much are Billy Joel and Sting tickets?
Yeah, because they're hitting other dates.
Right.
Tampa, San Diego, St. Louis.
Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster would be the place I want to go, right?
Las Vegas.
46204. That's our zip code. Is that right?
Something like that.
There's let's see what. Well, they're okay. They're not. He's not playing with Sting though, is he? On these other dates, he's by himself. I don't know.
No, they've toured together throughout this year.
Really?
Yeah. Tampa, San Diego. I just said.
I don't
St.
listen when you
Louis,
say things.
Las Vegas. So, would you? Who are you more interested in seeing? Would it be Billy Joel or would it be Sting?
Yeah.
Be Billy Joel?
Yeah, I feel like with Sting, I'm going to have to listen to some long, meandering speech about something like the environment or something that I don't care about. But I feel like Billy Joel will just get down to business.
Yeah. I thought Sting was so cute when I was young.
Totally right.
Yeah.
Well, he was pretty well-assembled human being there. Like, pretty...
They were one of my favorite bands.
Muscle-bound, one of those guys that worked out quite a bit. And Billy Joel, not so much. How did Billy Joel... Can we just have the important conversation here? How did Billy Joel end up with Christy Brinkley?
Christy Brinkley.
I don't care how much money you had. I don't care what a great song Uptown Girl was. I don't care that he wrote it about you. How in the world, like if we're doing Broad Ripple numbers here, she's a Broad Ripple 9 and he's like a 3. And that was back when he was skinny and had hair, he was a 3.
Right.
How did he end up with her?
His music, his poetry, his talent.
His wallet. Keep going. You were almost there. You were so
she
close.
had her own wallet at that point.
Not like his.
She was impressed by his hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know what you mean.
So
Kevin.
I saw you two at Lucas Oil Stadium 2017. And that wasn't bad. You will back me up on this, and Kev will back me up on this. The bigger the venue, usually the less quality the performance is, because first of all, the acoustics aren't as good the bigger the venue, and it's harder to play to the more people because you're
crowd,
right? Because you're creating some sort of
not
relationship.
As personal of an experience.
Yeah. If somebody, here's what I'm going to do. If somebody would like to buy me a ticket to this event, I will go to this concert with you, and you can say you've hung out with Rob Kendall from WIBC.
Is this a prize or is this punishment?
Surprise, Casey.
Okay.
Surprise.
Okay.
And none of these bad seats either. I don't do the bad seats. I'm not sitting at the top. No.
Right.
I either need to be in on the floor somewhere in amongst the people.
Yeah.
Or I would also accept in a box of some sort.
In a box. Last show I saw at Lucas Oil Stadium was Luke Combs.
Who?
Luke Combs.
That's a country singer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a great time.
Like he was by himself?
Well, he had a warm-up band.
But he was the headliner at Lucas Oil Stadium?
Yes.
There's that many people that would... Who?
Luke Combs.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he's a country singer?
Yes, Rob.
And he played Lucas Oil
Very
Stadium?
popular. Very popular.
No kidding.
Has sold millions of records.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, good on you.
He's the one who did the cover of Fast Car from Tracy Chapman.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart.
No idea.
You don't know.
No, I got nothing.
All right. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
The rhetoric of the left. I mean, this guy was using the exact same words that Biden and Harris have been using. The right is not out there shooting at Joe Biden.
Kamala Harris calling Donald Trump the biggest threat to America since the Civil War. Many people are saying lone wolf. I'm questioning whether he truly was a lone wolf.
Well,
and I think many people are.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey, it's autumn, and if you want to hit the road here the last half of the year, don't exactly know what you want to do or where you want to go, You join AAA. As a member, you get free travel planning plus the best available pricing for your trip. And, of course, all the roadside assistance available.
AAA Hoosier Motor Club members get free travel planning help, plus discounts on hotels, cruises, rental cars, and more. AAA travel agents will make sure you get the best price on that fall vacation. Plus, if you run into trouble anywhere on the road this fall, AAA has you covered. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas, lock your keys in the car. AAA has got you 24/7, 365, no matter where you are. So if you're not a member right now, become a member today. You're going to be glad you did. 844-GO, AAA GO, or visit AAA.com or stop by your local AAA office. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese sauce, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh cracked American cheese sauce, bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The clock is ticking. Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is almost over. Until September 30th, you can get 5 years of 0% financing on any purchase. It's the perfect chance for worry-free shopping with no interest and monthly payments customized for you. And now open Sunday, September 29th. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity. From luxury timepieces to engagement rings and more. Don't wait. Spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest on approved credit. Only until September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Forget the sun in his jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold.
Sting, Billy Joel coming to concert, Lucas Oil Stadium. That'll be a good show. And maybe memorable, unlike the Judas Priest concert that you forgot about earlier. We were talking about that earlier, and the dude texted me, and he said, I listened to the show too much. Rob saw Judas Priest at TCU Theater. I remember because I didn't know they were coming, and I kind of wanted to go.
So if you're just tuning in, it's Kendall and Casey show, and I don't know why I forgot this, but I went to see Judas Priest this summer at White River, and we were talking about, because the Weird Al's coming, and we were talking about what a kind of a crappy place it is to watch a concert just from a logistics and visual standpoint. Mm-hmm. And that's horrible. It was just like 2 or 3 months ago.
Right.
I could not frickin' remember who I saw at the amphitheater. Yeah. And they're a pretty big band. It wasn't like it was Scruffy and the Scruff Tones.
Judas Priest. Well, Jim knew.
Thank you.
So he was...
And Jim will actually be with you tomorrow.
Yeah, it's your last free Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your 3 days of mandatory fun. Did you enjoy last Friday? We didn't really talk about it.
What did I do last Friday?
I don't
even remember what I did. No, because here's the problem. My wife works from home most days, and then she's there, and then she suddenly it's like...
She'd give you a honey-do list?
Here's how it works in my house. Does it work this way in your house? Where my wife will let things build up all week, and then all of a sudden, when I'm home, then there's this sudden urge that we have to do all of these things around the house. Oh, I haven't cleaned in weeks. Oh, and conveniently, it's every Friday that you feel the urge to do it,
and
right?
You happen to be here.
Right, absolutely.
You can help.
No, I don't. And I've said this many times. I end up working harder on my days off because I don't do anything here.
Yeah.
You do all the work.
Right.
Hammer does all the work on the betting show. I have reached a point in my career where I'm a show-up guy. Like, I've worked very hard to become show-up guy. And so I come here. The drive kind of sucks. But other than that, pretty easy life I have. Boom, boom, in and out. When I am home, What I got to do in the future is figure out what days she's going into work, because she goes into work
take those
some
days
days
off?
and start taking those days, because it's just total peace and quiet.
Little communication. We got to work out a couple days when you can find somebody to watch Olivia, so we can get out of town. And
Well, one of the things
rip roaring weekend away. The stories that would come out of that.
So one thing I guess I was doing last week was we were still dealing with Bruce.
Yeah.
And
how is Bruce?
So we
need an update.
I wanted to update everybody. So for those of you, Bruce, my English bulldog, my very elderly English bulldog, he had suffered several severe seizures, and it was not looking good for him. We took him to a different vet. That vet took one look at him and said, there's a lot of life left in this dog, and let's see what we can do. He is doing much better. He's had a great couple weeks. It turned out, also misdiagnosed, that he was basically going blind in both of his eyes. That was part of we had associated his confusion with the seizures, but it turned out they diagnosed an issue with his eyes. His eyes are much better. And he basically is like the way he was before now.
Oh, good.
So you don't know. They're going to do some blood work on him here in a month or so and see, try to figure out what was causing those. But, I feel horrible. Like, we tell our lives here, right? Like, that's what we do, right? That's why people like us. So I feel horrible about this. When we were kind of feeling like this was going to be it for Bruce, because we didn't want him to suffer. The seizures were very bad. We dug the hole, right? Like, I feel horrible saying this out loud, but he actually dug.
Well, you were considering putting him
right. And I was like, I cannot, if we have to do this, have to then come home and do this. So I'm going to get it out of the way. So then for like the vet, when they diagnosed him, they said, we don't know if this is going to work. It's going to depend on what he was actually causing the thing, whatever. So for like a week, we kept like the hole and the mound of dirt. And I felt so bad because like Bruce would go outside and he would look at it. And he was like, wow, what is going on with that? And so now I have filled the hole back in.
Nothing. It's just for a time capsule for Olivia. Has nothing to do with you, Bruce.
So he's doing much better. Look,
did you fill the hole?
I did.
Good.
I've now filled the hole back in.
Good.
Look, the reality is, and people know this with dogs, right? Like, and especially it's true with bulldogs. Bruce is not only on probably the back nine of his existence, but probably on the final couple holes just because of his age, and he's a bulldog. But thank you to everybody who's prayed for him and thought of him, and he's doing so much better, and you just realize every day is a gift, and we're on bonus time at this point, but he's like his old self again.
Well, I'm glad to hear that he's doing good, and I'm super glad that you got that second opinion.
Well, and I guess that would be my thing to people is if you're being led in a direction from whether it's a medical provider or a vet or whatever, and there's something in your gut that is like, hey, this doesn't maybe seem like absolutely right, go talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't just accept somebody's word just because they have MD or
measure twice and cut once.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, there's we were supposed to get to something, weren't we?
We were supposed to talk about New York City Mayor Eric Adams, indicted on bribery and conspiracy charges, and they say he solicited foreign contributions to fuel his political career. He's the first sitting New York City mayor to be charged in a criminal indictment.
It doesn't look good for him.
Nope.
Because as Brett Waltz, and I don't know if any failed politicians locally need to hear this, but when the feds come at you, they generally come at you pretty strong, and your chances of success are small. Now, he is vowing to fight. This is allegedly, now I think they have unsealed the indictment today, and it's up on the screen that he's speaking right now, so we'll try to get some information on that. But it was related to illegal contributions, something related to the Turkish either government or nationals, and he's trying to say, he being Adams, the mayor of New York, that this is related to him calling out the federal government over them dumping all those immigrants and illegal immigrants in his city.
Right, that's what he's saying. But the fact is that I believe they've been investigating this for a few years now. You just don't throw up a federal indictment like that.
Right.
And, dealing with foreign nationals, that's
not
a good look.
The thing on him when he got elected, because remember the de Blasio, the guy before him, who was a complete train wreck. Adams came in and said, look, I'm a liberal, but I'm not an insane person like Adams. And when it comes to crime and other things, I'm going to run things a little different. However, the knock on him when he came in was this guy lives a super lavish lifestyle. He goes out and parties. He hangs out at clubs. He's in the VIP. And so they were writing about that before he even took the job as mayor. So it's going to be very interesting. Keep in mind, this is Democrat on Democrat violence here. This is not, Republicans don't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah, you're shocked that they're eating their own. So Fox News is reporting that any moment prosecutors are going to speak about the indictment. But New York City right now grappling with a lot of real challenges like crime and homelessness and also all the immigrants that are coming in. The city definitely deserves better than a mayor who's under federal indictment. But how about yesterday, AOC coming out and saying he needs to step down and resign, and then magically, a few hours later, this indictment was released.
It does make you wonder, right?
Because she knows something.
Don't you think so many of these politicians are totally wholly corrupt, and you could get any of them if you really wanted to get them? Like it's basically a club, and the ones who play ball are the ones we turn. How does Nancy? I just saw Nancy Pelosi sold more stock.
Yes.
Oh, was it Visa? He allegedly dumped it was reported that he had dumped a bunch of Visa stock, and now Visa's in the crosshairs of is it the DOJ? I mean, this happens time and time and time again with these people in Congress. Nothing ever happens to them. So you do wonder if there's was this guy maybe living a lavish lifestyle and loose with the regulations? Who knows? But you could get any of these people if you wanted to, and you do wonder, is there some validity to what he's saying of, hey, I didn't play ball on this key issue, and now they're coming
for me.
They're coming. By the way, I saw this. Now, Gary says this in the YouTube chat. I've not checked this. I'm not taking this to the bank. Sting and Billy Joel tickets start at $515 per ticket on StubHub.
What?
No, that's not indie because obviously they haven't even gone on sale yet, so they can't be on StubHub.
Yeah.
But
wow,
I'm not spending $515.
Well, no, because then you're spending $1,000 if you want to go with someone.
I'm not spending $515. Kev will back me up on this. Now, Kev, it's different for you because you're a single man. But one of the greatest things you can do as a single man of vigorous age like Kevin is go to concerts by yourself.
This is one of those examples that you don't take sand to the beach.
What? You don't what?
Don't take sand to the beach.
What does that mean?
Well, I was telling Kevin, there are certain opportunities that you want to go by yourself if you were trying to meet somebody.
Right.
You don't take a date to it. You don't take sand to the beach.
Sand to the beach? What are you saying? What is this, like from the 50s?
It makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
What does that mean? You don't take sand to the beach?
You don't take a date to a concert if you want to meet other women at the concert.
No, I mean, the world's your oyster, Kevin. Like, you go to this. True. Yeah, I mean, then you can maneuver. You're not even bound by some other guy that you got to hang out with. Like, you can just make friends and
Exactly.
But I mean, that's not an issue for me. But I'm saying, Kevin.
Who's he going to meet at a Billy Joel Sting concert, though?
Oh,
it's going to be an older crowd.
No.
Daughters.
You're thinking about this. No. You're thinking about this all wrong. There are probably tons of well-assembled mothers in their 30s. And I don't know what your age parameters are. I think we've talked about this before. But I'm guaranteeing you there will be, like, what are you laughing at?
We're the only show that can go from Eric Adams being indicted.
Kevin will back me up on this, that I give good advice. I have thought these things through. It is like a battle plan for me. There are going to be a bunch of well-assembled moms in their 30s and 40s who, if they knew, like, hey, Kevin McNamara from the Kendall and Casey show is going to be there, we'd love to meet up with Kevin and get to know Kevin and buy Kevin a drink at Kilroy's beforehand or, whatever. Yeah, totally, absolutely.
They could be my uptown girl, and I could be their piano man.
Absolutely.
We got to go to break. News is coming up next. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
She's strong and getting stronger. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Hurricane Helene has become a Category 2 storm with 100-mile-an-hour sustained winds, according to the National Hurricane Center. The remnants will be over Indiana by tomorrow, dumping a lot of rain.
In addition to that, we're going to see our winds start to ramp up very gradually later today into tonight, and then a bit more during the day on Friday.
Joe Neild with the National Weather Service. Donald Trump's attorneys are in a New York City appeals court today trying to convince a 5-judge panel to overturn a $489 million civil fraud verdict. It's the case involving the Trump Organization in which the former president, his 2 sons, and a former CFO were found guilty of falsifying business records. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
There's no substitute for experience, and that's especially true when we're talking about teenagers learning to drive. You teach them the basics, but what about those things drivers don't encounter every day? Hey, I'm Matt Baer, here to tell you about Rule the Road Indiana. It's a hands-on experience at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just for teenage drivers that provides practical knowledge and skills that go beyond regular driver education programs. So, for instance, a controlled braking course and evasive maneuvering course where young drivers learn how to maintain control while avoiding collisions. It is taught by police officers and professional driving instructors. Saturday, September 28th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's free. All you need to do is sign up at ruletheroadindiana.com. Lunch is provided. And American medal-winning swimmer Ryan Murphy and IndyCar driver Stingray Robb and defending 2-time Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden will be on hand signing autographs. Rule the Road Indiana, brought to you free by Alliance Highway Safety, September 28th at IMS. Register now at ruletheroadindiana.com.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-883-3024. 800-883-3024. 800-883-3024. That's 800-883-3024.
More than X's and O's, playing high school football has taught me respect for my coaches and teammates, our opponents, and the officials.
On the softball field, I learned how to be accountable for my actions and how they affect the rest of my team.
Every game reminds us that humility means winning with class and losing with grace. I'm Dante Pope from Maryville High School.
And I'm Ashton Elpers from North Posey High School. These are just some of the lessons we learned from high school sports that we'll carry with us for the rest of our lives.
Wins and losses, highs and lows, success and failure, they are all part of being a student athlete and a human being.
Learning how to handle these ups and downs on the field prepares us to handle them off the field, too.
I am IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports and the lessons they teach by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is developing character. This is education-based athletics. This is your IHSAA.
Did you get a heating and air conditioning quote that you're just not sure of? Give us a call for a free second opinion.
317-577-8077 for Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
So Mark Cuban came out. You know, he's one of Kamala Harris's biggest spokespersons. He said he wants to be the head of the SEC. When he first said that, when I first saw it, I thought, is he talking about the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah, conference.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Maverick, sports guy, right? But no, he's not talking about football or the Collegiate Conference. He's talking about the Security Exchange Commission. And he wants to be the head of the SEC. He's called Trump a socialist on CNN. When he was on MSNBC, he said, the future of our country militarily, economically is driven by technology that Kamala understands. And he said, I want to be head of the SEC. So this is just a disaster waiting to happen. You know, he's already a billionaire. He's had his hands in countless different ventures. And now he wants to steer U.S. financial regulations in a way that benefits what? Yes, his own interests, particularly crypto.
Well, we're going to see how talented I actually am here, Casey, because I'm going to do these final two segments while looking at the television because the President's Cup has started. So we'll see how talented we are if I can not look at you and we can still do this segment together. Look, Mark Cuban is a dirtball, and we talked about this yesterday that he is obviously sold a bunch of his assets, and he is, clearly a guy looking for a new challenge, and he's clearly a guy that really does crave power. He really does want to be an influencer. He is a total leftist. He wants in the political game, and this appears to be the thing that he wants, right? I mean, you let these people speak long enough, they're going to tell you their motives, they're going to tell you their MO, and he clearly wants to be a part of Kamala Harris's administration.
Well, he said that it's, he's doing this big push for fewer regulations on cryptocurrencies, and it's all about innovation. Really? Is it about innovation or is it about money?
Well, and look, a lot of people are good at some things and not good at others. And Mark Cuban is a guy who's clearly good at finding talent. He's clearly a guy who's good at using other people's ideas and putting his capital behind it and turning that into profitable ventures. There's no doubt about it. You can't dispute that. But that just because you're good at it doesn't mean you're good at policies and regulations that will benefit the collective. And it really does take some of the shine off a guy when he admits, I really want to be in the government.
I want to be the head of the SEC. Well, the SEC exists to protect consumers. Whether they do that or not is questionable. You can determine that, but it's not to cater to billionaires who want to shape the rules in their favor. So he's just trying to align himself more with Kamala Harris so she can put him in charge of something that he can drive to the side that he wants to work for him. All right, let's talk about what's going on with Chappell Roan.
Who?
Chappell Roan, you're vaguely familiar with her.
I am?
She's a singer.
Oh, she is?
Yes, she is, and she's very popular with the Gen Zs and the younger set. And
Kev, you know this woman?
Yeah, I know one or two songs by her.
Chaperone?
Chappell Roan.
Chappell Roan.
Chappell is her first name.
Very good.
Roan is her last name.
Thank you. Okay.
So she put out who she was voting for, and she said it was begrudgingly who she's going to vote for. And of course, as you can imagine, she's a young 20-something. She's a singer, kind of the new up-and-coming Taylor Swift. Who do you think she's going to vote for?
Oh, boy. Here
yeah,
we go.
she says she's going to vote for Kamala Harris. However, she is not endorsing her.
Oh.
And she has a take on why.
Endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with, policies. Obviously, policies of the right, but also some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't, put my entire name and my entire project behind one. Because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. So yeah, there are huge problems on both. You know what is right and wrong. And
so she goes on to say that, she's in no way endorsing Donald Trump, but she still wants voters to hold their representatives accountable. And by doing that, she's not endorsing anyone.
Old chaperone there already sounds infinitely smarter than Taylor Swift.
Hey, can we talk about what's going on with that UNLV quarterback?
Oh, my gosh. This NIL, this money in college football stuff is totally out of control. And I think yesterday was an eye-opening thing for a lot of people.
It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
And you got us feeling all right.
We've been told to shorten our show teases because some hosts are long-winded. So, the Tony Kinnett Cast. It's a good show. Your mom likes it. Starts at 7 p.m. Be there.
Do you ever worry if you'll run out of money in retirement? If so, you're not alone. 70% of Americans fear running out of money in retirement, more than they fear death itself. And now that Social Security is projected to run out of money in less than 10 years, going broke in retirement could be a very real threat. Learn the latest strategies that could help you avoid running out of money in retirement with a free analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We know and trust Bill Demery, and you can too. So if you have saved more than $200,000, schedule that free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. The last thing you want is to be 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. So call Bill Demery today, 317-648-5120, 317-648-5120.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Hey, it's autumn, and if you want to hit the road here the last half of the year, don't exactly know what you want to do or where you want to go, you join AAA. As a member, you get free travel planning plus the best available pricing for your trip. And, of course, all the roadside assistance available.
AAA Hoosier Motor Club members get free travel planning help, plus discounts on hotels, cruises, rental cars, and more. AAA travel agents will make sure you get the best price on that fall vacation. Plus, if you run into trouble anywhere on the road this fall, AAA has you covered. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas, lock your keys in the car. AAA has got you 24/7, 365, no matter where you are. So if you're not a member right now, become a member today. You're going to be glad you did. 844-GO, AAA GO, or visit AAA.com or stop by your local AAA office. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336, 800-444-9336, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-9336.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Get ready to celebrate the 90th birthday of the King of Rock and Roll. And you're all invited as Omar presents the Elvis Tribute Artist Spectacular. One night only, Friday, January 24th, at our new venue in Indianapolis, the Murat Theater. Starring Sean Clush, Cody Ray Slaughter, and Ryan Pelton. With special guest Ed Enoch and Elvis's Stamps Quartet. Tickets go on sale this Friday, so come celebrate Elvis's birthday. Visit etaspectacular.com today.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIPC.com.
Casey, the money in college athletics and the system they've set up is totally out of control, and a big thing happened yesterday that I think is starting to finally put it front and center for a lot of people.
Yeah, you must be talking about NIL.
Yeah.
Right?
So name, image, likeness. So let's kind of set because this big event happened yesterday that I think a lot of people now who've kind of been with their head in the sand on this, saw this and said, oh, this is not good. So NIL is name, image, likeness. This came out of, look, the NCAA for years was wholly ridiculous in the way they treated student athletes, like where they could work, how they could make money. Because let's face it, like a lot of these lower level sports weren't getting full scholarships. They were, struggling to provide basic necessities, and there were just so many guardrails around things that student athletes could or could not do that ultimately this ended up in court. And basically the courts in this country said, it's now the Wild West.
Yeah.
You pushed this so far, we're going to open this up, and you can basically, as a student athlete now, use your name, image, and likeness to make basically as much money as you want.
Well, it used to be that if you went to a D1 school on athletics, the school owned you.
Right.
They told you where you could go, what you could do, and you were hoping just to get some playtime and some free swag.
Right.
And that all changed when they opened up the NIL, and now there's a lot of athletes that are picking their school based on how much money they can make, not for the sport.
Yeah, they're basically now college athletics for the upper tier is largely done. It's now these are just less talented professionals, and they're essentially like mercenaries on the upper echelon, where every year these guys are entering, and especially the major sports, the football and the basketball, the transfer portal.
Yep.
You get it used to be, and people who are you're a longtime Hoosier, so you get this. Yours would probably be more with Notre Dame. But Purdue or IU basketball, you knew for 4 years, hey, so-and-so's coming in, and you're going to watch that guy grow up in front of you, and you're invested in it, and you knew who was coming back. And
Pat Connaughton from Notre Dame was a great example for us. We watched him play all 4 years there.
Right, and much of it was true with football as well, where you had those great Notre Dame teams of the late 80s and early 90s, and the Rocket, and Jerome Bettis, and just all of these sorts of players. And now you have no idea who's on your team from 1 year to the next. It's players for hire. And essentially they're selling themselves to the highest bidder, which totally runs counterproductive to what we think college athletics should be. So, I mean, it's like we went from one extreme to the next, where it was ridiculous over here to not allow some sort of monetary gain or comfort of lifestyle. And now it's just the Wild West and highest bidder, and you have no investment in the player other than is he wearing your team's jersey that year.
Right, and that's one of the reasons Nick Saban said that he was done coaching college football, because it was too hard to put a team together. It was too hard to get them to mesh as a team when the players were changing year after year. And speaking of changing, the UNLV quarterback, what's his name? Matthew Sluka?
Sluka, I think that's how it's pronounced.
He left the Rebels on Tuesday over claims that there was an unfulfilled verbal NIL promise from an assistant coach.
Okay, so a couple things with this. And again, part of the problem with this is it's so complicated. So this Sluka guy was the quarterback for UNLV. UNLV has traditionally been horrible, but they've performed very well this year. They're 3-0.
Undefeated.
They've won 3 games. They've pulled off a couple upsets. And now in the middle of the season, this guy is going, hey, you told me I was going to get this money.
Yep.
I didn't get it. I'm out ski. And because of the way the transfer rules work or redshirt rules work, as long as he didn't play a fourth game, he can come back and go somewhere else and come back next year, which is insane. Now, the school is saying, we never offered any of this on paper. He can't produce anything on paper. He's trying to say some coach told me this.
Yep.
The school is saying, wait a second. State laws prohibit us from giving you this money, much less the NCAA laws. And now what we have, front and center, is you have a guy basically what appears trying to hold a school hostage in the middle of the season for something he never had on paper, and now he's quitting on his team in the middle of the season, which is totally going to throw their season for a loop. And this has reached a level of insanity. And I think this is opening people's eyes to going, there has to be some parameters around this.
Okay, so he did receive a $3,000 paycheck from some engagement that he went to over the summer, but he's claiming that one of the assistant coaches verbally offered him $100,000. And now the head coach is saying, whoa, no, it didn't come from me. Oh, and by the way, there's nothing in writing.
Right, and by the way, this guy was not, I think he played at Holy Cross, which is not a big-time school, or this was not some mega, recruit that everyone was trying to get control of. So one of the things that is about to come out, there's a court case pending where there is a settlement that has been presented, not yet approved, but presented. Part of the problem with the NIL is the school can't do it directly. They can set up this group of people who control the NIL, and the school is like, it's almost like in the sense of the federal campaign finance laws, where the candidates can only accept so much money, the political action committees can accept infinite money.
Unlimited, yeah.
The settlement that is in front of the court now would basically blow that up and allow schools to pay players directly, which seems like a better way. But the whole thing is ridiculous because either you're a pro or you're an amateur. Either you're a college player or a professional player. And if you're a college player being treated like a professional, I still think you're just going to have just complete insanity. And this thing that happened yesterday with this guy is really, I think, an eye-opener for many, many people going, ooh, maybe putting little children, giving huge wads of cash to little children or potentially promising huge wads of cash to 18, 19, 20-year-olds. That maybe not have been the best idea.
Well, yeah, he's seeing the dollar signs. And it's interesting that he announced this on social media as well. And that's how, I guess, these college students, they're doing it now. He said he wouldn't be playing with the Rebels again this season. He planned to use his red shirt this year. So I guess UNLV better hope that their backup quarterback is pretty decent.
Well,
or their season could be done.
That's the thing, right? I mean, you have I don't know how old this guy is, 22, 23-year-old guy who just basically held an entire football team and essentially a university hostage.
Well, right, because that's most likely their number one athletic sport.
Well, with UNLV, it's probably basketball because they've obviously had some great basketball teams. But you're right. It's up there. It's 1A, 1B. The point on all of this is the red shirt stuff is stupid. The idea that you can quit in the middle of the season and not lose eligibility is stupid. He's not hurt. There wasn't some freak injury. They've got to revamp the transfer portal thing, which I think they're getting rid of one of the portals. There's currently 2 windows to go under the settlement. I think it's going to go down to 1. The whole thing is ridiculous, though. These are basically kids. I think about how stupid I was when I was 19, 20, 21 years old. These people have no idea what they're doing. They can agent whatever they want. They're still being, in many cases, taken advantage of, and something's got to change because they're ruining college athletics.
It really does shine a light on what's going on over there at the NCAA. They've got a lot of policies that I think really need to be looked at. This and also, men playing in women's sports. They have to address that issue as well.
I think you should send an angry letter.
You think so? Or we could just walk over and knock on the door.
Probably do that.
We could do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this afternoon.
In the meantime, we got to go because the President's Cup is on, Casey.
Speaking of sports, you're going to be glued to the TV for golf. All right, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a health